Is everybody ready?
No.
Hello, and welcome to Table Stories Gone Final Roundtable. Hi, friends. Look, it's me.
Hi, peeps.
It's Peachy. Peachy Pixelate. Hi,
It's
everybody.
me. I'm well excited.
I'm nervous, so I'm just gonna admit that.
I said excited instead of nervous because I got to keep up with that era of cool.
Oh yeah.
Some brand. I'm very cool.
So I shouldn't admit pit stains.
This is my third T-shirt today.
I don't know why I'm more nervous now than I have been for maybe a couple of episodes where I was really sweating bullets beforehand. But for some reason, I'm just really anxious before doing this final round. Maybe it's because it's the end. Maybe it's because I don't know. I don't know why.
Probably because you're going to bear the secrets of
Yeah.
how you made this awesome show.
Yeah, maybe that. Maybe it's just gone will be gone. Yeah. So
it's finally gone.
yeah, it's finally happening. So we just want to thank everybody for showing up. We have how we're going to do this is we're going to start with some questions. There might be moments where Peachy and I just ramble a bit, but if you have questions,
That's going to happen.
it's going to happen. If you have questions for either Peachy and how the music was composed for the show or anything related to the soundtrack, please feel free to ask those kinds of questions. You can also ask me questions about how I GM'd or anything like that you weren't able to ask last week because I wanted to focus on the 9 people that we had there, the 9 cast members. So you can ask me GMing questions if you'd like to. The way it's going to work is I'm going to ask is Piranha Plant here? Before I just volunteer Piranha Plant to do this. Piranha Plant might not be here to help. Yes. Okay. Are you okay to do this right now or no? I just want to make sure that he is actually able to. I totally should have asked you way ahead of time. Gathering questions? Yeah. I just assumed. I'm terrible. So if you have a question, for either of us, go ahead and at Piranha Plant, and Piranha will gather questions. He has already given us a list to start with. Sure, need to move. Oh, okay. You know what? Stay where you are. Stay comfortable. There's literally Peachy and I here today. I'm not doing a million different things. So if you've got a question for Peachy or I, just at us, and we'll collect it and put it off to the side because we have the Google Doc. I can also do it. Oh, Zacotacus, bless. Zacotacus did it last time. Okay. Cool beans.
Awesome.
Zacotacus has got it. So at Zacotacus for me or at Table Story, at the Table Story account, and we'll grab it. Okay. Shall we begin?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I have a question for you right off the bat. From now. Now, Chan. What is your favorite usage of one of your songs or audio creations during the show? Ooh. That's a good question.
One and I'm like, I can't answer that because there's been so many good... So I make music, not entirely in a bubble. I'm not, because we're conversing, we're talking about stuff, and we're throwing ideas around. So it's not completely in a bubble, but I don't know how it's going to be used, ever.
Yeah. Except for a couple of times. There are a couple of moments where I'm like, I am envisioning this immediately, so I'm going to save this for that scene.
Specific songs that I made in maybe a shorter amount of time. Talking about the soundtrack specifically, it was the trailer song. Is that Nore?
Yes.
I can't remember.
Yes.
That one. Because of the way I went about making this album, and hearing that put to your idea of the trailer to introduce the show and everything you told me about the show, I knew so much about the show. Like, so much. It was completely spoiled for me, and I loved every second, and I was so surprised. But when I first saw that trailer, with the words in it and the images and then the cast coming up, I was like, oh, I've made a real thing.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a cop-out, but it was literally the first song that was put out. I was like, oh, I did okay. Yeah, okay.
I don't think
this could work.
I don't think that's a cop-out at all. Also, could Peachy be turned up a little bit? It's so weird. Before, when we were talking, I was like, you're totally fine. But as soon as we're live, you do sound very quiet. I'm sorry.
Hello. Is that better?
Is that better? I don't
Check, one,
honestly,
two.
it doesn't sound like you changed anything.
Check, 1, 2.
Oh, you know what I can do? Hold on. I can do it in clean feed. I just learned this thanks to Whack. So hold on. I can adjust it. How about now?
Okay, 1, 2, hello, check.
Yep,
Yeah?
I did
Okay,
it.
cool.
Yep, we're good. We're good.
I am a very quiet person.
You're welcome. Okay, so he did a thing. I did a thing, which just makes me feel terrible because throughout the entirety of Gone, when we switched to clean feed, I had no idea this feature existed. So people are like, I can't hear this person or that person. I could have just boosted it this whole time.
I ruined my goddamn gain for you in Leech.
I know you did. And I could have just upped the decibels by myself, but
it's almost as if you're human.
How dare you?
Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry.
I'm kidding.
I went too far.
That's too far. Oh, I have a question for you. Everyone has to wait because I have to ask you a question. What was your reaction? And I mean, I kind of already know the reaction, but I want to know more. When you saw the intro to the show for the first time, when it had original soundtrack by Peachy Pixelate.
That was really weird.
I didn't tell you I was doing that. I just did it.
It's like original. It validated the shit out of me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm British, so I'm supposed to be reserved and be like, oh no. But I was like,
oh damn,
that's me. Yo, that's me. That's me. Yeah, there was a certain amount of pride going on there when I saw that. But I didn't feel like, okay, imposter syndrome aside, I didn't feel like it was, oh, here's a bone. It was like, no, I did
you
that.
You did do that,
I did that. I'm really proud of this soundtrack, and it's hard to speak about it because I like the music I make, but I've never been proud. It's a weird sensation to be proud of something you've made. You can be happy with what you've made, but being proud of it is different. Yep. You know?
Yeah.
I'm sure you had the same thing making the show, right?
Well, it's not just making the show, but like specifically when you said that, I've thought of like photo shoots where I'm like, that's good, but it's not like I'm like, yes, this is like, I'm, there's always something I could have done better, or, so I don't know, just something. It's like, that's great. I did an okay job. That's a great shot, or that's a great photo shoot, but it's different when you're actually like
go out.
Yeah.
I'm not going to just go, oh, that's terrible. Have it. Like, I'm always happy with it, but being proud is a strange.
It's incredible.
Strange feeling.
It's
for sure.
I wonder if too. Do you think some of that has to do with our process together for this soundtrack? Because we were very.
The process for this was very different.
Yeah, and I feel like
usually it's, hey, I need a fight song, a theme song. It's D&D fantasy.
Yeah.
Can you make this? And you send a few things back, and they go, yeah, I like that, and that's it. But we had to, me and PB hang out for coffee very often.
Yeah.
And we did it on Wednesday, and it just turned into Gone Day.
Yeah.
Where PB were like, I've got this weird idea. And I'm like, do you need this music?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was, making the sound, I think the reason why people gel with the soundtrack is because it works in the situations, because we spoke so much about what was happening for specific pieces of music and how you wanted to use specific pieces of music and stuff like that. I think that's why it works.
And I think too, a lot of it, so a lot of questions are asking, what was the process, which we're going to talk about right now. But we were in sync, Merkles. We were in sync, because I do remember sitting down and saying, okay, we're going to work on the music, but it means I have to tell you some things. And are you okay being spoiled? And you gratefully you said yes. And then I told you. I told him what was going on. I told him about Mother. I told him all this stuff.
I knew the
one.
ending before the show had started.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, not the specific details, but like what was actually happening in the show. What was going on. And like I told him all this stuff right there at the beginning. And then I was like, so we need machine sounds that sound like breathing, organic. I need hidden heartbeats in nearly every song. Like, I just need all this stuff. And like this specific...
PB would message me saying things like, hey, metallic wind, does that exist? Yeah, I mean, I guess it could.
Yeah. Yeah. So I definitely was like, I need like a crunching sound. And boy, man, trying to communicate some of the sounds I wanted to Peachy was, God bless you, because it must have been so frustrating. Because I'd be like, it's not crunchy enough. Like, I need it to sound like grinding.
One thing you said a lot was, it's not wet enough. There's not enough water in this.
Yeah.
I'm like,
what does that mean?
No, but I mean, I got it. I'm memeing, obviously, but I know what you mean. About the process, you sent me an artist. Was it Lorne?
I'm gonna say it, but please know that I didn't realize it was pronounced this way until a friend of mine. It's Robot Cock. It's spelled Koch, I think. And right. I was just like, oh, okay. That's what I was saying. I was like, oh, okay. And then I sent the album to a friend of mine, and he was like, really, Robot Cock? What's wrong with you? I was like, oh, that's Coke, isn't it? Oh, I hope so. I fucking hope so. Let's say Robot Coke.
Anything but Coke. Yeah, let's say Robot Coke.
It's Coke.
You sent me this album,
yes,
and I listened to it a couple of times over and over.
Hold on, because I forgot about this, and I know people are going to ask me that.
This was well before it was starting to. This was like the start of production. This was.
Yeah, but I wrote to this album, so I knew people were going to ask me that. My initial writing was done to this album, so I sent you this album in beginning, when I was like, yeah, okay, let's say it's Coke. It's like the Koch brothers, I think. Well, great. I hope he never sees this. So that's awesome. The album is called Sphere, and it came out in 2018. And so I listened to that album a lot during writing, and I sent it to Peachy when we were originally talking about kind of just like the feel that I wanted. And I told him how the songs made me feel when I listened to them, which I don't think that's your normal process either, right?
Sometimes I'll ask people for a reference if I'm not, because like I don't even know musical terminology fully. So people who don't work in music, like, you know, give me some words, give me some themes. If there's songs, you know, send me that. But you gave me an entire album, and you were like the feel kind of sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
And I listened to this album, and what I noticed a lot on this album was there was so much arpeggio in it. And that's basically, I took the arpeggio ideas, not the notes or anything, just the ideas. I wasn't like taking melodies or anything from it. And there was a lot of what seems like empty space, but it's not. It's wide. There's noise there. So there's like gaps of breathing. So I had this breathing idea, and I can't remember where the heartbeat came from. Oh,
I can. I'm part of the reason why this is haunted, because I told you, I was like, you know, I want you to do the soundtrack. I'm asking you to do the soundtrack. Are you interested in doing that? But it means I have to spoil you. And are you okay with that? And you were like, yes. But we didn't have our meeting yet. And so we basically talked. I sent you that album, and then I was like, this is kind of what I'm feeling. And I kind of, you know, water is a huge theme, which I'll tell you about tomorrow when we talk, and like all this stuff. You went away and wrote that opening theme. I'm going to play it right now. And it had the heartbeat in it, and I lost my shit. Wait, did you write Neo first? Or did you do, I'm pretty sure this is the first song you ever sent me. It wasn't Neo. Amygdala. I think you sent me Neo first.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna play it right now.
Okay.
And I almost puked because I hadn't even told you about Nibiru or the heart at all yet. And you put a heartbeat in there. And when you sent me this, I was like, I saw the scene from episode 5, the beginning of episode 5. And I was like, I'm using this. This is when I'm gonna use this. And I knew instantly. This song was first. It's so perfect. Yeah. And the fact that you titled it that, I lost my shit, because do you remember? Like then that morning when we had coffee, I was like, why did you call it that? Why did you call it that title? And I was pestering the shit out of you about that, because I was like, that's what is that? It's something it's the adrenaline, right? In your brain.
I think it's one of the glands or something. I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
we need a doctor.
I'm not a doctor. But yeah, I remember...
There was some things you said about that, because this didn't come out of nothing. I think we'd been talking about it.
Yeah, but I
definitely mentioned water.
I definitely mentioned water, but I didn't tell you the heart of Nibiru yet. I didn't tell you that part.
You did say it was cerebral.
Yes.
I'm sure the word memories came up a lot.
Yeah, I think I told you the
heartbeat
basics.
let me just look up. Let me check this is the right thing before I just talk nonsense.
Yeah. Because we definitely spoke about the memories and the idea that I was going for and the hopes that I had for the show. I definitely told you that. Like, I'm going for a bit of a surreal adventure. Blah, blah, blah. I'm hoping we can touch on this theme, and this theme. Water is a big thing, so I want everything to be a bit watery and flowy. I think I used fucking... How do you deal with clients like me? I want it to be flowy and watery.
It's really easy. You want water, I make something that sounds wet.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's perfect. Anyway.
You should talk to a jazz musician, because I'm like...
Huh?
What? So it's a naturally occurring chemical in the body that acts as both a stress hormone and a neurotransmitter.
Yeah.
It's released into the blood as a stress hormone when the brain perceives that a stressful event has happened.
Yeah. So when I heard it... So
that's where the heartbeat came from.
Yeah, so when I heard it, I was like, I immediately saw the scene from episode 5 with Dex in my brain. I didn't know it was going to be Dex at the time, but I was like, oh man, when that fucking happens, I'm using this. And then when I looked up the name, the title, and what it meant, I was like, this show's haunted. It's so good.
I just think we were in sync, so we just
Very
understood what was being said.
You also... I think when I originally talked to you, I was like, guitars, and like...
I was just about to say the guitar thing. So
I was like, guitars and pianos, I think? Just something different.
You sent me a track, and it was like, oh, this is the theme.
Yeah.
And this is the one thing I fought with PB about.
Yeah,
fought, but you know,
our version of fighting, which is like, you're not allowed to use this, PB. Well, okay,
we're
but
close friends, so I'm like, no.
And I was like, well, my heart is set on it, so you know, if you would like to go make something, okay, but don't get your hopes up because I am obsessed with this track. And then he did it.
Yeah. So
was that this?
I think this is the one with the... I can't listen to my music because it'll come through my speaker.
Yeah, it's okay. It's amygdala, right?
I think it's an amygdala.
Yep.
Yes. So...
Oh, God.
This is the one. This is the song that everyone's going, oh, that's gone. PB sent me this track with... it was guitars. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was played... it was really a really good song.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I didn't make that. This isn't made for what PB wants.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing this guitar and I'm like, there's something about the timbre of a guitar that isn't wet. And the wettest instrument I know is a piano. And I was just playing with, these are very simple notes. And I played this chord and I'm like, oh, that's a nice chord. So I broke it up into a melody, just the chord. And then I recorded that with so much reverb, because reverb, wet again. Then I played it backwards.
I remember that. You sent me a couple tracks backwards to use in the show, and then when they're in Nibiru, I would play them forwards. Yes, so that's right. Oh my God, we did so much shit.
In the background, you can hear the backwards. It sounds like a reverb. It's not. It's actually the track being played backwards. But then I chopped it up so it was in the other way, the other order in the melody that I thought, and then I overlaid the melody over it. And this, it's like listening to music underwater.
Yes.
When the thought of drowning is just this. I don't know. I just messed around. A lot of musicianship is just going, what does this sound like? Oh, that's weird. That's weird. Oh my God, that's amazing. Perfect. But I had to fight. People's like, oh, it kept coming up. It's like, well, what about a guitar here? And I'm like, no guitar. We didn't get guitar until Dex.
Well, because the reason I was going to do that is because I knew that John was writing or going to role play a musician. So I was like, okay, we'll do that. But it worked out so perfectly because the guitar only came up in relation to Dex, and I think that made it a lot more powerful. Hold on.
The guitar.
I looked it up.
This is also that song as well that we've got a question about.
Oh yeah. We'll answer that in a second. I'm sorry, we're now rambling.
We are rambling.
May I read this? It's from our DMs from January 27th, by the way. It's such a long time ago. Oh man. Okay. You told me, this is me freaking out about the song title and that you called it Amygdala. And you said, hence the ebb and the flow of the melody being melancholic and then semi-triumphant. The bass is super smooth harmony, yet heavy and aggressively overbearing, while the heartbeat keeps everything in check, moving forward apart from the times where there is a rush. What? And then you were like, I am nerd. And I said in all caps, of course, nerds are the fucking best, though. No one cares about any of this shit when I'm making an OST. And then I'm like, yes, I do. I care. And then we just devolve into all caps screaming at each other about how fucking cool it was. I'm just trying to see if I can find the moment where you sent it to me for the first time and my reaction to like, holy shit.
I think I sent you a few piano pieces before you got the song.
You did.
What you said about bass, I want to speak about in a bit as well.
Yeah, why don't you just do that right now while I look for this? Yeah.
The entirety of the first chapter 1 is drenched in some very low-end bass, touching on like 30 hertz. People won't know what that means, but very low-end bass, because that makes you feel off. In horror movies, in old cinemas, they used to play low-end bass because it actually rumbles your organs and makes you feel uncomfortable, and not uncomfortable, but like something isn't right. And I wanted to make sure that people were hinted about something isn't right about this show, because you're watching this show, they're in the DMV and like, yeah, that's cool, but there's something not right. And I tried to inject so much. There is so much bass. I was using compressors on top of compressors on top of compressors to squeeze the most amount of bass. I have made drum and bass in my life and still did not have as much bass as this album has. One day I'll release the flax and you can destroy your house with it, with the bass line.
Do you remember when I messaged you and was like, I'm thinking I'm starting the show in the DMV and I'm scared. I think people will think I'm insane.
Yeah.
You know, because I had to tell the players we're going to start in a DMV, and they were like, okay.
The DMV is where the mother's lullaby came from.
Yeah.
That's the genesis of the lullaby. Well, I thought it was, and then I found out after the show ended it wasn't quite.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
So I have this little Bluetooth speaker.
It sounds nothing like that. You sent this to me after. It's nothing like it. You are insane.
I have this Bluetooth speaker. When my phone comes into contact or I turn it on, it makes this sound.
Hold on, let me mute the fucking music. Go on.
It makes this sound. I listened to that. I hadn't long had this since I started making the soundtrack. And I listened to that without thinking every morning, every night. Every time I like leave the Bluetooth area and come back, it does that sound again. And that permeated and turned into the DMV chime, which is also the mother's chime, which is in... Wow, I can't remember which songs.
It's hidden in a couple. It's in the
It's hidden
club.
in a couple, but
yeah.
it's main, the main, is it? Was it Neoprene?
I think it's in there. It's in there.
I think one of them, it's the main melody.
Yeah, you straight up hit it in the bass hits in one of the songs as well. One of the tracks, you hit it in just the bass sound, which was really, really cool. Yeah.
Well, you were talking about this lullaby that was in everyone's head, and I'm like, well, it would be in the music. I want it to be in the listener's head as well.
Yes, yeah. And it was very much like, I was, anywhere we can hide this theme, I wanted to hide it as if it was possible. And I kept saying, and he was like, I can try, or like, I can do it in this one, or I can do it in this part, but I can't do it, like it's got to be a little bit more Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
because melody and chords, you can't always fit the stuff in, but in low end bass, you can fit it in because you can't perceive the tone as well.
Okay. I found my response. Sneaking in at 333. Yep, those are the synths. Then I said, fuck my dick, Peachy. This is great. That's what I said. Oh my goodness gracious.
333.
Yeah, and then we just went on for ages. Yeah, because you would put stuff. You would put certain things in at 3 minutes and 33 seconds into the song. And somebody mentioned that, 1984 is 33 seconds.
Which,
Or 33
I'm going to be
minutes,
honest,
right?
is
That was
a
an
happy accident
Oh,
because
really?
I was making the synthwave version of a song called 44 Seconds. And I'm like, I need to make this synthwavy. And I was having a bit of fun with it. And I wrote it down. I'm like, but you don't think anything of it.
Yeah,
So
right.
I just
Haunted.
Yeah. There are a couple of happy accidents that happen for sure. Did you get that with writing as well?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I get that with writing. And especially because when I am working on an improv show, a lot of times the skill comes in the tie back, like how you can loop it back to stuff that's already happened. So someone will do something in the show and I'll be like, holy fucking shit, that matches that. It looks like it was planned, like scripted, but it wasn't. And I never get over that.
That comes from good planning and knowing how to guide stuff as you're going. So it's not complete accident.
I think so too. And it's taken me a while to realize that because I thought, Nocturne was a fluke in the way that I did time travel and was able to kind of loop everything back in together. But then we did it again in Gone. And I was like, maybe this is just something I don't know how I'm doing. I don't know how I'm doing this, but I am helping facilitate it. I'm not totally in control of it, but I at least know how to recognize it when it's happening in the moment and go, okay, I can tie this back to this, or, I can weave that around, which I think I'm starting to learn to admit that, it is a skill that I have.
A happy accident. Was it Bob Ross?
Yes.
He's a very skilled painter and he has a happy accident. You're going, no, that's not an accident because that doesn't happen to me when I draw trees or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think it is skill based.
Just a quick second. Sorry to interrupt you. Does Peachy sound robot-y to you guys? I might need you to refresh. Wow. Refresh. Clean feed.
Hello.
There, much better. Thank you. Yeah. Deglove, clean feed. Sorry. Yes. So we have a lot of questions. I know we just rambled for a bit.
There's GM questions that was after the questions you just asked.
Okay.
As well.
Did you want to ask me one and then I'll ask you one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Are there any scenes you wish you could have just let play out without needing to cut away? If so, what were they?
No.
Even if they were to ignore pacing and editing?
No.
I think you... So...
If there's a scene that I want to stay with, I stay with it.
Yeah. I think this show, from a viewer's perspective, is... some of the greatest artists are indulgent to the moment, and I think because you produce the show, you're very good at producing. You produce Leech, and I was just blown away by that as well.
Okay, careful on the compliments there, friend.
Okay, all right, bitch.
Thank you.
We'll just hard edge the end. You let stuff play out perfectly. The pacing is inherent, right? When the beats that you're hitting. And you seem to hold on stuff. You're not scared to hold on stuff, which a lot of people would be like, change scenes, let's do something, blah, shake the keys.
Yeah, and I think that some of the beauty in a moment is not having all of it. And I think that's important, at least for me when I'm GMing. Sometimes if I'm moving away from a scene, it's not because, I am keeping track in my head and worried about switching to the other people who've been off screen for a certain amount of time and that kind of thing. But, I will message the chat and be like, sorry guys, I'm going to stay here because, this is really good. And I'll let them know that I'm not switching as I thought I was. But sometimes when I'm switching away from a scene at a moment where it's like, I personally want to know more, I would love to sit and stay with that scene and figure out what they're saying. But it's important that we don't in that moment, because that's good storytelling. We don't always sit and get the whole conversation.
And sometimes you get more than you need.
Yeah. So, yeah, I do try to do that. But to answer honestly, scenes I would have enjoyed more of, anything with Autumn and Dex talking. I could listen to them talk all day. That was great.
I love Dex.
I love Dex too.
He is the child inside all of us.
I know.
Like the wonder.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how much of that is Dex and how much of that is John.
It's both, I think.
Like John also has the wonder.
Yeah.
John is as well. Some of the musical cues that I've put in, that I'm like, oh, no one will notice this, but it's just my flourish, right? John's just like, he's on it.
He notices
like,
it, yeah, and he will change. He will, like, his performance was very much affected by the music that was playing in the background.
Watching people act to how the music is going is so powerful as someone who made the music and just the music. And then you've got the whole scene, which is the visuals, the story, the acting,
what
the
does
narration.
That feel like? Like, sorry to stop that, and I just don't know what that must be very cool to watch people get emotional to your music, or like.
I think I've told you this before
in
private, that once you've made the music, once you're finished with it and you put it out, it's no longer yours.
Yeah.
Like, I put it out with this intention and this feeling and this thought, and then when it goes into the minds, or the ears rather, of people who are listening, it's not mine anymore, it changes.
Yeah.
But to see, like, and people can say, oh, you know, this gave me that feeling, this gave me that feeling, but to see something being created using, like, the palette of music along with all the other colors, you know, the acting, the words they're using, to watch it transform, like, live as I'm watching, is it's like, I know that the music isn't mine anymore, but that's just that's not like a real tangible thought, but when you see it happening in a live show, you just see it transform, and everyone's just experiencing it then at that moment. And I've had like this song, I've had this song playing, and then when I see it all come together in a scene, it's completely new. And it makes me understand how people are affected by music.
And
no matter what I put into it.
That's a theme of the show too, that the viewer, you, the viewer, and I, have heard the song as well. Like, all the music that I was playing, I was very specific about what we were doing, because it was like important that, you know, the viewer be familiar with it as well. So yeah, I think it's really interesting to hear that that's
the chime in some sound effects.
Yeah, sneaking in the chime, or the reason why I used Seti's work for Autumn, you know, or the Enki. Like, I was very specific about wanting to use that. Like,
I'd like to apologize to Satis for editing his work so it would play better on a show.
It was perfect, because I did ask him to if I could play these versions, and he was like, no, let me gonify it, let me make sure that it sounds the same as the rest of the soundtrack when you use it in the show, which I'm very grateful for, because it did make it all sound together. But one of the reasons why I picked that song instead of a custom song that Peachy wrote in that moment is because very specifically I wanted to say, okay, we should all recognize this. I want everybody to go, oh, hey, I know that.
Yeah.
But where do I know that? For a lot of people, some people will be
going to go, oh, that's him and that's this song.
Yeah. A lot of people aren't going to, you know, pick up on that. But some people will, but they'll recognize it. And it was really important that I have that moment, particularly when Autumn with the bike for that first scene. And I was like, okay, I need to do something that everyone's going to recognize, that I won't get DMCA'd on. And then it just slowly became Autumn's theme after that, that I used in a couple of different spots. But
no, that was very Autumn. It was familiar, but not quite, not quite right. Which is I don't know how interesting this is.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
It's a production thing. I have a Gone Matrix, which is a series of effects and reverbs and delays. There's like feedback, and there's some reverse echoes in there as well. which I could basically run anything I wanted into and give it this gone edge. So this is the gone piano. The one that you hear is a bit more distorted because it sounds
like it's underwater. Yeah,
yes.
it's so good.
This is the
it's
gone
so
matrix.
Good. Yeah.
It's very subtle in this one because the melody is very important rather than the feel. It just gives that edge to it so it doesn't feel out of place.
Yeah. And some other stuff that you did too was I would send you like
you would send me so much stuff.
I know.
I'm gonna open up my folder.
Yeah. Oh God.
I'm a shame Pumpkinberry Live.
Shame me. It's fine.
I wouldn't have done it if I wasn't so into it.
I know. I would send him like players would record stuff or narration for me to use, and I would send it to Peachy to like treat and make sure that it sounded great. So yeah, he would add that watery sound, especially to a lot of the speech towards the end, especially of the show. Peachy, thank you for making amazing music. He did so much more than just make the music for the show though too. He was a big emotional support for me throughout the show when I was worried about making certain decisions. He would talk to me about that. He did a lot of the sound editing for some of the things that we needed throughout the show, like last minute. Oh, can I tell them, can we talk a little bit about Cry the Planet?
Yes.
This guy? I can't find the texts, the DMs from this, but I was like, it's when I thought the players were going to go to the statues, but they didn't go to the statue. They didn't end up going when they ended up going. But I messaged Peachy and like right after a Gone episode, like, I think they're going to go here next week. So here's what I need. What did I say to you? I was like, I need people weeping and in agony.
You wanted screaming people.
Yeah.
I think you might use the word tortured.
Yeah. And then I was like, and I need two versions of it. One where it's like I think what I said was one where it sounds like it's reverberating through pipes, like in Nibiru, right? Where I can play it in the background and they're creeped out, but they don't recognize what it is. But then when they
hasn't come into focus, it's got this.
That's what I said. I was
blur.
like, yeah, it's blurred out. It's not in focus because I do use photography terms a lot with you. And then when they get there, I want to play the in focus version of it. And he fucking did it. He fucking killed it.
This is still the Gone Matrix, by the way. You sent me all these screaming noises. I'm listening to it and I'm like, oh, I'm so depressed.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. You were like, I think I just made the most fucked up thing I've ever made. And then I listened to it and I was like, it's perfect. It is exactly what I needed. Thank you very much.
Okay, I got some numbers for you while we listen to this terror.
Oh no, I switched off the terror song. So yeah.
I've been making music for Brad for a long time. Mm-hmm. All in all, I have 4.5 gigabytes worth of music for him.
Oh no.
Everything he's done.
Oh no, you're gonna.
Everything that I've made for him. That includes like some meme tracks, like the Fat Stacks remix, all that stuff for Brad since I've been making music for Brad. 4.5 gig. PB.
No, stop.
For Gone alone, I have 47.3 gigabytes worth of files and music.
Oh man!
There is so much audio design in Gone.
Oh no! I love it. Oh, that's a bit insane. Thank you so much. God.
Yeah, I've got almost a gigabyte for the stuff I've done for Whack, which I've done quite a lot of.
Yeah. I have a little tidbit too, because before I forget, we talked about the octahedron, and we talked about mirroring a lot, where we wanted it to be one way when they were inside the simulation, and then we wanted it to be another way when it's canon now, and then when they were outside and when they were in Nibiru. And there's a lot of music like this specifically, that Peachy designed that it could be played both forwards and backwards so that I was able to do that mirroring. For example, this is, probably recognize this playing a lot during the octahedron. And this is the song backwards. And it still sounds like he designed it specifically to be played both ways. And I think that's fucking awesome. And nobody knows that, so I want everyone to know. That's cool as fuck.
I can't remember the name of this one, but I remember I was like,
you just called it Desert and Desert like, backwards.
What does this particular synth sound like backwards? And it was just beautiful. I'm like, what if I can make the same thing?
Yeah.
And just reverse it, and then I can give that needy bitch 2 songs, but just one.
And it's funny because you would do that. You would be like, here's this thing you asked me for, but check it out. I did this crazy cool thing instead.
Yeah.
Or like, and as well. And everything you ever did, I was like, yes, you knew best. You knew what I wanted. Sometimes
I got to
when I couldn't
so
articulate.
Much.
Yeah.
Some of that 47 gigabytes is just stuff that wasn't right. It's just me going, but your stories and just hanging out with you and specifically talking about Gone, all those things in one, just I've never made a soundtrack like this. I've never gone full. I remember after finishing the original soundtrack, I needed a week, 2 weeks to get over it.
You were like, wow,
it fucked me up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I read all these things about musicians and their process and how they get into it, and I just make songs. I'm just this idiot on the internet that makes some songs and stuff. But I'm like, why don't I try that? And I tried that, and it just works. It worked so much better. So
I have a question for you that you have full permission to answer completely truthfully because we are very good friends. How did it feel when midway through the show, I was like, I need the whole soundtrack again, but synthy?
Okay.
Did you want to slap a bitch?
First, when you said that, I'm like, oh, she wants another album.
Oh, yeah.
And then my brain went, dude, you fucking love synthwave. This is your shit.
Oh, no.
This is what you
I wouldn't have asked.
Want to make.
I wouldn't have asked if I didn't know you love that, and I thought that you would have fun with it. And to be fair, I did ask. I wasn't like, do this, like, we need this for the show. I was like, what do you think about this idea? It's extra as fuck. We don't need to do it, but wouldn't it be cool
extra as fuck is what we should have called the entire OST.
Extra as fuck is what we should have called this Q&A, because it's literally like, I can't count the number of times we would say like, oh, but what about this idea? Like, I think you've ruined me for working with future composers, Peachy, because I feel like it was so fun to work together on scenes and sounds, and it really felt collaborative, and it really felt like you valued my opinion on lots of things that I have no idea what I'm talking about. So, because we're friends, but also it just felt like, I don't know. It was exciting to work on those things. Like, I'd wake up to a message of you being like, look I made this song so that it's played backwards and both forwards. And so I'm thinking that you could use it for octahedron, and then also, so that somebody in the audience might pick up on it. Someone might. They probably won't, but they might.
We had some weird conversations. Like, we'd be sending the strangest thing because we're like in the zone. We know what we're talking about. We don't need to dance around and go, okay, I'm phrasing this in the sense of, we just say them. And I'd be like, is this too sexy to be sad?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. And also when I was like, can I? Oh, okay, I'm so sorry. People have asked so many questions, and I'm like, we're just vomiting about the process, but I actually really like it. Remember an hour ago, Peachy, we were really like, what are we going to talk about? Oh my God, I'm so nervous.
We're sitting here going,
we have nothing to say. Like, oh
we
God.
Couldn't speak.
So yeah, the combat song. Okay, let's talk about the combat song for a second. But this is probably the one I was the pickiest on, right? Look at him politely nod, like, yeah, no, you were the picky.
This one was hard
because
I think
Let me switch to the original.
I remember one scene of there being actual combat, and Blake, was it Blake or Lucian?
Lucian?
I think it was very early on.
Episode
it was the
1.
one combat scene.
Bang bang.
And he nearly died.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which was because okay, so I'll let it play out. You'll hear it in a minute. This is very different to Gone because it's not a combat story. It's not.
I told you that. I was like, there's not going to be a lot of combat, so I don't want a traditional combat song. I want a tension song. And I want something with what did I say to you? I was like, I want sticks. I want drumsticks, but no drumming. I was so picky. And then I was like, and no bass. Because I wanted it to be so different from the rest of the music that we were making. And I was like,
I can't let you do that, Dave.
Yeah.
Some bass.
And he was like, yeah, exactly that. I can't let you do that. Have some bass. And you, my reaction when you sent this to me, I was like, you fucking nailed it. It was
I don't
so
think
good.
I told you where this song came from either.
No. Are you going to tell me?
Okay, so I had to write this down because there's some weird shit about it. PB was like, there's no fighting, there's no combat, even though there was, but in general, there wasn't that. There was excitement and attention.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an African drum called I don't know if I'm saying this right, djembe. It's like a wooden carved drum with a skin over the top. And it's got this it's almost a metallic slap. Depending on where you hit it, it changes. I wanted the combat is supposed to be like the whole story is about this memories, the depth, the water. Combat takes you away from that. So I actually wanted to do something on purpose to take away. And what's the opposite of wet? Dry. And I was like, oh, what about that drum, that cool slappy drum, Africa? It's just a real simple thing like that. And I was reading on the drum, African history and musicianship and how they make stuff isn't or wasn't written down. It was given in memories and handed down. And that's where I'm like, this is the drum. This is the drum we use. Because usually you'd use bass drums, you'd use like orchestral drums to excitement and stuff. And I'm like, no, that's not what this is. So this is supposed to be a dry song. And then when PB said no bass, I specifically put more bass in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm like, yeah, drums are and there's some deep.
I just didn't want it clubby sounding. Is I guess what I was
I
trying to say.
You
knew what I meant. It's funny that you say that, Peachy, because I just looked in our DMs. February 26th is when you sent me the bare bones beginnings of the song, and you titled it, "Is This What You Mean?" That was your file name. Is this what you mean? And then I sent you a very inappropriate ejaculation gif. But yeah, and then all caps like, oh my God. Yeah, freaking out. Yeah, so.
Can we just listen to the bass that she didn't want here?
It's perfect.
Bass was.
It's perfect. It's fucking
perfect. The song
perfect.
that was not supposed to have bass probably has more bass than
you also
anything
did something with that wobble, right?
Album.
There's a very specific, like, for a lot of the bass sounds that you were doing were Mother, right?
Yeah. Because Mother is a machine, right?
Yeah.
So I hear mechanics, and that's where my brain goes straight away. There's this. This is really dumb, but this one specifically. The bass drop, it's a wobble, but also the tone is going down in pitch.
Yeah.
To try and mirror something called a shepherd tone. And I was like, shepherd, mother, that kind of makes sense. It's not a true shepherd, but that's where the idea of the bass, even though it's got its own melody, it's also dropping down each time. That's where that came from.
Yeah.
But when somebody tells me you can't have this, and I'm like, no, it's the right idea, I'm gonna do it more.
I'm gonna make it work. Yeah.
That's just how my brain works.
That's how we got Amygdala. Because I was like, I don't bother writing me an intro song. I have one, and you were like, bitch. You know. I think one of the, and I totally
a lot of that
get
was
it.
Selfishness.
Now. You say that,
No.
but you say that, but it wasn't. It was selfishness for the show, not just selfishness for you. Like I remember you saying to me, like, hey, look, like I'm gonna be on there. As someone who did the soundtrack, I don't you know, like I don't want that intro, that most iconic theme to not be mine. Makes total fucking sense. Got it. But I think it was also right for the show because you're right. Everything that you wrote was with my, like, I almost said the word vision, but you know what I'm saying. Like this kind of idea
vision, yeah.
that I wanted to get across, you know, and you were like very protective of that. You loved that. That was like I really feel like I gave you my baby and you took care of my baby and you loved my baby. And then you just made that baby so beautiful. Like you just really kind of, yeah. So, and
I think it would be the same, like, if I came to you and I was like, I need photos for my OnlyFans.
Yeah.
I want this, this, and this. And you go, yeah, but we're going to do this instead.
Yeah.
And
I
came to you because I trust your vision. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's true.
I know you're not going to destroy the thought, but you're going to make it good.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah.
So fucking good. Y'all parented the shit out of this. Oh. Okay, should we?
100%, I will say this now. For the whole time I was making music, which was basically from before episode 1 till
January at least, yeah.
I made a song for the last episode. Like,
You did.
I was making songs right up until the last episode. That's why there is so much music.
Mm-hmm.
PB was the muse for this entire thing. It wasn't like, oh, there's this thing, I'm going to make what I want for it. It's like, no, I'm going to make what this show needs, kind of deal.
You did do that quite a bit. In fact, let's talk before we immediately dive into questions, because I just said we were going to do that.
We'll totally dive into questions soon.
I was like, we'll do it. I wanted to talk about this one for a second, because this shocked the shit out of me. I was like, I think they're going into the heart of Nibiru. They didn't end up going where I thought they were going to go, but I ended up using this track anyway because I love it so fucking much. So I used it. This track bops. It does bop. But I didn't realize, like, I don't think we talked about you hiding the melody in this one, did we? I just played it and was listening to it, and then I heard Mother's song.
Yeah. Oh, what? No, actually,
I heard it right there, those synths, and I was like, bitch, what are you doing?
I remember that they were going into the heart of a town, right?
Yes.
So this will be permeated by Mother. I'm not sure if that was a conscious decision or not.
I know we talked about how I didn't want it to be like traditional club. I was like, it needs to be like a bit more pulsing-ish because it's a PowerPoint in Nibiru. We did a lot of like symbolism with the music where it was just kind of like, you know, this is where this location is in the human body.
There's a horn in here there, which is straight from the Matrix tribal sex scene.
I know. People compare it to Zion all the time, which I think is a very big compliment. Yeah. Here it comes, right? Yeah.
The synth is coming now, yeah.
Yeah. So, but we did talk about like for songs and sometimes locations of scenes, I would explain to him like where in the body of Nibiru it was happening so that he could like compose from that perspective, which was just really fucking cool. Anyway, I got to this part when Mother's theme starts playing and I was like, I was screaming. I was like, oh my God, it's not the same. It's not the same. I refuse to let my magic be ruined. Okay? It's not the same. It's not the same. It kind of sounded similar. Will you do it one more time?
Put some reverb on it. It's like the major version of that chord is. And that wasn't on purpose at all.
I like how I'm like, it's not the same, and Peachy, a fucking musician, is like, bitch, it is. I don't want to break your heart, but it is.
I think this was when we were talking about the sort of synth and metallic and electronic.
Yeah.
Because they were getting closer to...
There was a lot of that. Yeah, and there was a lot of like, as they get closer and closer to the truth, the music will sound more and more synthy. Because if you'll notice in the first 10, 15 episodes, or the first 10 episodes at least, the music is very everything that, oh my God, I remember when you sent this to me and I was like, this is so happy, I can't use this. And you were like, this is the break song. This is the break song, period.
You say it's so happy. There is a midlife crisis in the middle of that song.
I know. You say that. That's true. There is. But he sent this to me, called it Anxiety Attack, and was like, this is your break song. And I was like, okay, sure, I'll use it as the break song. But I don't think I can use it anywhere else in the show. Are you okay with that? And he was like, no, I want everyone to be listening to this while they're on break. And do you want to talk about why that was? Was there something specific that you did in this song?
Yes, actually. So this song is it transitions back and forth. That bass is a discordant bass. So you hear this happy melody. It's got that arpeggio again, which is definitely what you wanted. Because I sent you one thing with an arpeggio, and you're like, "That's what you did? What? That's exactly what I wanted." I'm like, "Yeah, I just know a thing. Don't worry."
I know what you want.
Now here, this bass line permeates the happy tones, but it's discordant when it's in there, and so it breaks down to this bit. There's some singing in this as well. I can't remember what they were. But it's discordant, right? It's still in theme when it gets to here. It's like, oh yeah, we're still here. But there's a little... I like that bit. It's like a sorbet in between meals, because you have your break.
Yes.
Like you've planned to have the break. You're stopping there. Like you are specifically breaking the flow so you can go on to something else. So... it doesn't matter if the first half ended happy, because you've got that. It doesn't matter if it ends sad, because you get that sorbet, but then it brings it back down again, and then it comes back up. And I'd like to say it was Ricardo.
Yeah, Ricardo B. Mm-hmm.
His remix of this
is so fucking good.
Captured the soul of it totally, because all the way throughout it, he has this discordant melody happening, and it's like you nailed it. Like, exactly what this song is, you nailed it. Like the bits that he added himself, it was I really enjoyed hearing the remixes. I think I did one myself as well.
Yes,
because I can't stop making music for PB.
I still use that now on my stream, like my going live. Now that Gone's over, I feel okay and comfortable using the music on my own stream, because for a long time I was like, no one can use it because it can only be in the show, and then you have to hear it for the first time in the show. It's got to be in the show. Now that the show's over, sure, we can listen to it. But yeah, it was a ways before we could release the first soundtrack because of that too, right?
Yeah, I had a folder going, oh, she's played that one, I'll put that over there.
Yep.
And then when it was the whole album, that I started uploading it straight away then.
Yeah. And you were like, okay, all of these have been played. Are we cool to do it? And I was like, all the ones that we've played. And there were a couple that we waited to release the soundtrack, because I was like, there are a couple of episodes I want to have happen first before we release that. Specifically episode 5, at least. I wanted that opening to be something that was done specifically first. Now, I'm looking at this. I can't remember what this was. So I'm just going to play it real quick. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why I can't remember, because it's like one of the last songs we did. This is the Labyrinth one, right?
This is the final track I made for Gone. It's, I'm not sure what the usage of words was in that Discord that I joined with you. Because that's where the samples are from, some of the samples.
Oh yeah. I think he said specifically not to credit, but I think we can mention it, right?
I think it's like you can't say that the song's gonna
I think it's just
association.
Yeah, like I think he just doesn't want to be tagged in something shitty. Right? Like I think that's where it comes from, right?
That's
like
fair. I can understand that.
I think he just doesn't, like, he drops it there for people to use and is like, go make your own thing. You know, don't say, it's featuring me or has me in it, because it implies
featuring.
Yeah.
It's definitely I just used some samples.
So, but this is a really cool thing that I would like to talk about. It took me a second to realize what you're talking about. So one of my favorite artists is Lorne, and what Peachy did for this track, the final track he wrote for Gone, is Lorne has a Discord where he drops samples and he lets people take them and use them, and that's what Peachy did for me for this last track. There is a Lorne sample in here that Peachy used.
Who ignited the start of the entire... Oh, the pianos who ignited the entire soundtrack. There's also something in here. It's very subtle. It's like the periphery of your ears. There's a snare drum which is breathing.
Really?
Yes. There's a couple of samples that I made myself.
That's your breath?
Yes.
I'm gonna cry.
There were one or two samples that I recorded myself for this album.
Yeah, you want to talk about the one that you were never gonna tell the one you made me swear to secrecy? And then you're like, you can never tell anyone. And then today he's like, I think I'm gonna tell everyone.
It's Amygdala, right?
Yep. I'll put it on. Then ruin everybody's day. But I will say you were like, I'll never tell you where it is. Are you changing that? Are you going to tell us? Or are you just going to drop the bomb and then...
No, I'll never tell you where it is.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I will say the trailer version, it's a bit louder.
Okay.
That's about it.
Oh, it's a hint. Okay. I'm not sure I want to hear it now. I've warned you, mute if you don't want to hear it.
Yeah, this will destroy maybe the entire soundtrack for you.
No, it won't. I've known since day one. Go on.
So, we're talking about themes of water and the ocean and depth and stuff like that. And
they already know what you're about to say. And they're like, please no. Please tell me that's not what he's about to say.
So I went on to, I bought some samples. I've got a load of samples myself, and I'm like, I need water, dripping, waterfalls, oceans, and stuff like that. And I'm playing with it. And I must have gone through 1,000 samples to try and find the kind of splashing I wanted. Couldn't find it. It was like, well, maybe I can mess with this. Maybe I can mess with that. I'm like, no, wait a minute. I got a microphone. I'll just, like, I'm pouring water and, like... I had this microphone off the arm. I took it across the hallway into the bathroom. And I'm, like, turning on the tap. And I couldn't get the sound I wanted. And I really needed to pee. One of the samples in this track is literally me having a piss. And I'm doing the man thing, right? Where you sort of like direct it around. I'm like, that's the sound right there.
That's it. Oh God. Wait, go back. That's the sound I want.
I don't think I told you this, but I hear the sound. I couldn't get a good recording, so I drank so much coffee. And in like 20 minutes, I'm like, here we go. Here's the recording.
No.
There are other water samples in the song.
Yeah.
So,
my fish tank. Wait, did you use my fish tank from this one?
That is in
the other.
Floors.
Yep. You're right. But yes, you asked me for a lot of samples too. There's a lot of me hidden in this soundtrack.
Yeah, I remember asking, can you just
like breathing?
Like some of it's subtle and it's just to fill out like the soundscape and stuff.
Which at the time I was very uncomfortable with. I was like, I don't know if I need me in here. But now that at the end, the way things went down and I ended up, playing Mother, because in my fucking head, I was like, well, maybe Colo will come in the fucking finale of my show and, play like this big crazy, maybe that's what will happen because it can't be me. And then it ended up being me. So it's kind of nice that that you did hide so much of me in the soundtrack. It feels
there's
cool.
Lots of stuff that I can't, like, I made so much music.
Yeah.
over a large amount of time. I can't remember every little thing without. I could probably open up all my files and
I know
stuff.
you asked me for some breathing for a couple of tracks. You were like, just breathe heavily into the microphone, and I was like, "Ugh," but you made it. I couldn't even hear it in the finished track when you sent it to me. I was like, wow, okay. Yeah, it was
so you
really, really
use
good.
those things not to base a track around, but to fill out, and the more you add, the more vibe you get. That you don't even like the breathing for the snare drum. You just hear that you don't realize. You don't know what it is, but it gives you that breathy feel, etc. Or sometimes you gotta pee.
Can we talk about this one?
This one hasn't been released yet. This will be
The last one.
The last one. The synthwave version of this is out. It's called 44 Seconds, and my prompt, this was the hardest one to make.
I'm kidding. This is the one I was the bitchiest about, right? This is the hardest one that I was most picky about. I think it was this one and the fight song. These two, I was like,
picky. I think you were pushing me.
I was. Thank you for noticing.
I think you were pushing me to find the right place. This is another one that destroyed me for like 3 days. I think the second day I'm like, I'm not going on the internet today. I canceled my stream. I'm like, I'm just gonna have a read and love myself. This is called 44 Seconds because basically I've got written on the screen, punch PB in the heart. And then the hardest one, make Brad cry. Because I'm like, if I get between there, that's where we are.
Perfect. Yeah.
It's called 44 Seconds because at 44 seconds, I found the saddest chord. I was like, I have never written. It's literally 3 notes, and it's the saddest progression of notes I've ever written. And I wouldn't have got there if you hadn't been like, no, I don't want that. Because I made some songs that were a bit melancholic.
Yeah, but they were like, I don't know how to say this except to be like, it sounded like you were detached from it.
Yes,
you sent me these melancholic sounds, but it felt like you were just acting melancholy. You weren't actually sad.
That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, and I was like, this is okay, but it feels not genuine to me. Like if I hear this, I'm like, oh, it's a generic sad song. This isn't like. And I think I sent you a couple of examples of songs that punched me in the feels immediately when I heard it. I was just like, there's something about this track that makes me feel sad. And you sent this one over, this part in the piano, right here. I cried. And I was like, he did it. He did it.
Yeah, PB really pushed me for this song, rightly so. So I wasn't acting sad. I went to a sad place and I made the song, and I needed some days to recover from it. Yeah. And people was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, bitch, I wouldn't have done it."
Yeah. Yeah. It's very good. It was perfect. And you did
D minor? I don't know.
You did this like thing in this song where it was just kind of like, it felt like it was raining. I think I remember saying that to you. I was like, you made it rain. I was like, you made it rain for me. Like, and I remember thinking like, oh, I'm going to use this with the sky weeping. Because they have that. They have the place called The Sorrows, but it ended up being just like such a prominent piece that I used it very little, but I used it like during Adam's scene and like, a couple of really punch you in the feels moments. But yeah, it was like, yeah.
I also use some techniques that I don't usually use. I use a lot of synths. I make melodies from stuff that isn't the melody I'm playing.
Yeah.
This is bare, so very hard to make as a musician. It's just me playing a piano.
Yeah.
No,
you added the foot release pedal sound too. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Do you remember when you like sent me that and you're like, listen,
I bought a brand new piano.
Yeah, you bought a brand new fucking piano for this. And I do remember also saying to you like this track has to be, I used the term real for Peachy to be like, so don't read into it too much. It was just what I was using to try to describe things to him. But I would specifically say in this area of, like when they're in Nibiru, I want this to be real. I want this to sound like you're in the room with the instrument. Versus,
I remember you saying that. I didn't actually use the Gone Matrix because you wanted them to be in the same
I wanted it to sound similar, but specifically for this song, I don't know about any of the others, but specifically for this one, I was like, it needs to sound like you're in the room. And you did that originally. There is a version of this track where it sounds like you're standing right next to the piano, but it did sound off. You were right, because you were like, if I don't add that watery sound that the rest of the soundtrack has, it's going to be really jarring. And you were totally right. Yeah, so adding that back on, it's really, really, really good. Where can we throw money at Peachy? You can do it right here. Sorry.
Twitch.tv/PeachyPixel8.
Yeah, do you want that or do you want your Patreon?
Oh, I want that. Don't watch me. My music's terrible. I'm way more.
I did both.
God damn it.
I did both.
There's some techniques. So I've muted a lot of sounds with reverb.
Yeah.
And then I think I bought a new distortion effect and a new EQ that was a very sharp EQ. So it's very sharp and pointy, but it's still got this weird muted sound to it. And there's also a bit in the song, which I never do in any songs because I hate it, is slow down the tempo in the middle of the song. Yep. I never do that. I want it always on the beat, off beat, but it has to be straight all the way through. But in this one, I'm like, I'm just gonna drop down, which brought in another production nightmare. One of the reverbs, one of the echoes I use, when you slow it down, it changes the pitch as you're slowing the tempo. So I couldn't use that, which is my favorite echo to use because it's so good, and I had to do it bit by bit. It was a hard song to make in every possible way, but
totally worth it.
I do I like this song? No, because it makes me miserable, but am I proud of this song? Yes.
You should be. It's very good. I will turn it off now because it makes you miserable. Do you remember when you...
No, it doesn't. Yeah, it does.
Let's talk about this one for just a quick second, because...
Yeah, sure. Let's talk from the artist itself.
No, okay. Oh my God, stop it. Okay, let's talk about this for a second, because I'm really proud of how our collab worked in this. Peachy sent me this the day I used it first in the show, and it was this is the theme. I think you were like, we're going to use this later. It was a sample that you fucking sent me. You remember? And
from
then
a song.
Yeah, for another song that we were going to do. And then I played it during the mystery moment because I was like, you know what would be so cool is if I just had this on loop. It worked so well. And I remember you messaging me the moment I did it. You were like, that's fucking great. Like, that's so good. It sounds so good.
I had to put up with so much of my shit when she's trying to run a show. And I'm like, dude, you just fucking killed me. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was good. But yeah, I remember that's like one of my highlights in my heart is when I played this, and it was the same episode with Autumn and her spinning bike and her bike. It was that episode. And I played it when they were starting to figure it out. And it hit me at that moment. Because I was like, oh, I need to play Mother's theme in this. What you sent me is perfect for a mysterious thing, because it's like, it's echoing, but it's also her theme. And it's like getting closer to the truth. Man, it was great. It was great.
This is a piano and a xylophone. And I think... that's it, apart from some effects.
Yeah, because we were gonna do something to it later, and then it was like,
oh no, I know what this is.
I was like, don't fucking do anything to it. I'm using it forever.
It's a kalimba.
I love that. That's right. You told me that, and I screamed at you because I was like, I love that kalimba.
This. It's because I needed it for a song. Musicians are weird, dude.
Yeah, it's so good. I love
lives
kalimbas.
In the box now.
So fucking good. And then do you remember this song that we ended up using for Dex? This version of this song. Do you remember that too? It was one of the early versions of Mother's theme, and we nixed it when we nixed the guitar.
Oh,
and then I ended up using it for Dex's version of this song.
Yeah, the original, this guitar bit, my guitar was out of tune. Well, one of my strings, so the last note on every one is like not quite half a step, but it's just slightly out. Because I needed to change my strings, but I like the sound, so I didn't change the strings. So they're a bit old.
It's
And then
perfect.
there's a solo after.
It's perfect. So
All
good.
we're doing is talking about the music. This is supposed to
Yeah,
be
I'm
about
sorry.
you
I'm so
GMing.
sorry, but I got really excited. Okay. Okay. We can ask some. Let me. Oh wait, one more thing. I'm so sorry. This song. You didn't write this for the show, but when I heard it, I was like, can I steal it and have it forever for the show? Because it sounds to me like you wrote it for the show, and you just didn't know it.
Which one is this one called?
Float.
Oh yeah.
I heard it and it was like, this is mine. He wrote
Do you know
this
why?
for the show and didn't know it. Why? Tell me, because you haven't ever told me.
This
It
uses the Gone Matrix.
sound. Yeah, the Gone Matrix. Yeah. There you
Because it's
go.
a very good sound.
Proof that it fucking works. I was like, this sounds like it belongs in my show.
I did actually go through this, I don't know, month of writing some really abstract, chilled stuff.
Yeah.
I think this was one of them.
Yeah.
This might have been the first one.
I knew instantly when I heard this too, when I was going to use it in the show. I've never had that happen before, so thank you for that. Hearing something specifically written for my brain and then being like, oh, this is what, just like seeing it.
I don't usually use melody like I have done since Gone. I think you've made me a better musician.
Oh, stop.
Well, no, because I go about making not differently, but thinking about how to make the music differently.
You made yourself a better musician by challenging yourself with every single song.
You
All right.
challenged me?
I have some fucking questions for you.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready?
All right, go.
What is your favorite? Oh, we did this one already. Okay. Ooh. Oh, this is such a good question. It's for both of us. Okay. If you got to play in this story yourselves, assuming the GM was just like PB, what characters would you have built? Assuming you're going in blind like the players did, Whisper or Vagabond?
So, I want to know your answer to this because mine is not. What's your answer?
Okay. It's super cheesy. I'd want to play someone as close to me as possible. I think.
So you could experience what that means to actually be you.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be awake? Would you be
No.
washed up? You'd be
I would
in
be
it?
like, I mean, ideally, yeah, I would want to go in blind and be the Autumn and the Blake and the Dex and have these like scenarios unfold so that I can have that emotional journey of realizing like I struggle. I fucking help, I wrote a lot of this show and I still struggle with letting go. I need that so badly to let go, and I one of my biggest struggles is wanting the answers, and when I don't get them or when I don't have them or knowing the fact that I'm probably going to die without answers, that drives me crazy. So I would love to experience a show like this where it takes me to that emotional level and kind of cradles me through my existential crisis. So yeah, I would want to play someone as close to me as possible. And I'm going to be honest, like even if I started out playing someone different, I couldn't have done it, I don't think. I think I would have just reverted back to me.
Well, when you came out, or?
No, I just mean as a player. I just don't think I'm as strong a player as like Brad, who can literally play Blake and Lucian for 33 episodes. I just don't know if some of the things...
Brad is a rock. Like
he's crazy.
He was two different characters.
Yeah.
Basically.
Three.
That's true. He was three different characters. And every one of them made absolute sense by themselves and together. Brad's fucking amazing.
He's insane. I hate him.
Yeah, pretty much.
But anyway, what about you? Who would you play?
That's really hard for me because I know so much about the show, and audio for me, I guess because I'm a musician, is super important. Like this, Spotify is running on my machine 100% of the time.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. I'm still listening.
She did the thing. I got PBSD. I knew too much about the show, and I couldn't see myself being in the simulation coming out. The character that I most like thought, oh yeah, that's my protagonist that I locked with was Reckon.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I was gonna say you'd play like a Reckon-like character.
He's out. He has so much information, but also knows nothing.
Yeah.
He's stoic to a fault in the sense that, is he the bad guy?
Yeah.
I remember first seeing Reckon like going, oh, he's dodgy.
Oh, I know. There's
something wrong about him.
I fucking love that about him.
Then Law. Sorry, when I was talking about the show, but Law, seeing the character, I'm like, oh, she's so nice and caring, and then it's like, wait a minute, she's not on the straight and narrow. She's evil, but then you see the motivations come out. But Reckon's motivation, just the whole show from start to finish, to losing his eyes to where he ended up. That's my protagonist in the show.
Mine was Dex.
That's who I identify with.
Mine was Dex.
I was Dex might have been my favorite character.
Yeah, I was like, I'm torn because there are a lot of characters that I love for various reasons, but I do think Dex is my favorite character. Yeah. Then Run comes in a second, close. Close second. Wow, I just reversed that brain. Yeah, Run fucking stole my heart. Like, I fell in love with that character.
Most tragic character.
Yeah, I just wanted nothing but good things for him, and I really wanted him to make it. You know, I was gunning for him. People didn't think that people could like die in the show, but they absolutely could. And so a lot of the times I was like, please don't let anything happen to Run. Like, please, please, please. I will tell you something really cool. It's one of the revelations that we didn't use in the show, which I think would be kind of fun. Hold on one second.
The Dex Lordship. Yeah. That was cute.
Yeah. Okay. It's this one. It's the revelation of the Overlord. What is life but a collection of memories? When I saw this in the rulebook, Peachy, I was going to vomit. I was like, oh, that's the tagline for my show. I have to use this rulebook. Anyway, many
question.
Yeah.
Did you have the lawbook first or the show idea first?
The show first. The show first. I had, I think, even the trailer done first, the teaser done. And then I was like, well, I should probably pick a system. Yeah. And I was like, I couldn't find anything that was perfect for it. And then I will never forget this till the day I die. I sat down and I was like, I'm going to have to write a fucking system that uses memories that I can do and blah, blah, blah. And I was sitting there and I had my fucking Google Doc open and Whack was like, PB, you're insane. You can't do this in a month. And I was like, bitch, watch me. I'm gonna like,
I have to.
I have no choice. And I'm gonna like, it's gonna be bare bones. It's a mechanics light show anyway. So, you know, I'm gonna do what I know. I've done this before. I've written, you know, systems that will work. It's okay. Like, you know, not anything I can release, but it'll be usable, right? I look over to the right, and on my other monitor was my Twitter account. I just glanced over, and right at the top, like right popped up at the top, was something that I followed months ago that I was like, ooh, this art looks cool. And it was like, released today. Nibiru, a system about memory and identity. And I was like, what? And I clicked on it, and I went to the website, and I saw this fucking picture. And I was like, excuse me, what is this? And then it was talking about how you're amnesiacs and you, through memory, is how you play the game. And I was like, and I immediately bought the hardcover. I was like, this is going to be what I'm using, probably, most likely.
I think the first artwork I saw was the mermaids.
Yeah.
It's so messed up. I'm like, oh, that's my shit right there.
Yeah. So there's like the main image of the mermaids, and then the other image of the mermaid is, hold on, because I saw that
There's
too and
one
was like,
almost
I'm
a
using these.
scientific documentation of them. That's the one.
Yeah.
And it's like
Yeah.
strapped around.
Yeah, it's
So
like
cool.
it's wrapped around the ankles and the body. It's insane, and they're like lures.
Somebody
It's crazy.
made that with their mind.
I know.
Are you okay? Do you need a hug?
Yeah, it's perfect. But yeah, so then so what happened was I ordered the hard copy of the book, and then I downloaded the PDF. Okay. Then I'm reading through the PDF, which is talking about like, I think I skipped ahead to the mechanics, how the game is played. And I was like, oh, this is fucking perfect. And then I saw the rule of threes and I was like, I'm going to die. This is literally the perfect thing for me. And just, there's so much in here about, just memory and what I was trying to go. I ended up scrapping half of what I had written to fit it in the world of Nibiru. Like I just changed some things and was like, okay, let's maybe move this around. It's going to take place within Nibiru. Nibiru will be this hub because it's too cool not to use. I couldn't just use the mechanics of the game. I had to tie it into the world of Nibiru. Plus it's like, I say this a lot. This will not be the last thing I GM in this world because they stayed in the Umbra. There's fucking, there's robots around here. There's like so much to do in the city. There's like Blade Runner style bikes and racers and stuff. Like there's so much in here that I will definitely do something. Like, look at this service AI that they never met. You know how much I love robots? I have like 6 of these written.
The adorable, cute robot, Charlotte.
Charlotte, they did meet a Charlotte, but I mean, Charlotte's a tiny one. Charlotte is a Waywatcher AI. Look at all the robots that I never got to use. Anyway,
a new kind of Metal Gear.
I know. But here, let me tell you this one. So if I were to play in Gone, if I were a player, this is the revelation I would use because it's super fucked up and it makes me very interested. Okay, the vagabond must be touching a recently deceased individual who then returns to life. Once that happens, you tear out the journal page containing this revelation, which means all of the memories on that page go with it. Its memories now belong to the resurrected individual. Each hour after the resurrection has taken place, the subject will remember one of the memories in the page, slowly realizing those memories aren't theirs. On the 8th hour, their realization will come full circle and their borrowed life will end. Discard the torn journal page. So I would want to be one that was raised.
Yeah.
And then die during the show. I'd be like, yep, that's what I want. How fucking metal is that? It's so good. And your goal is to slowly roleplay, realizing that you're not who you think you are, and then you fucking die. Oh God, it's so good.
The whole identity thing that you pitched with.
Yeah.
It was, when someone says that to you, like, who are you but your memories? Your brain just goes, I don't want to think about that. I'm going to eat chips.
Yeah, it's something I honestly think about a lot, which is probably why I wrote a whole fucking show about it. But I mean, I said this on my stream after Gone ended. I said that it's something I think about a lot, and I think I struggle even now thinking back on, some things that happened to me when I was, younger or impressionable, where I spent so much of my life being like, if that hadn't happened, who would I be? Or, and then just coming to terms with that, like not cherishing what horrible things happened, but realizing that those horrible things made me who I am today. And I know the people I know. I have the people in my life. I'm like living the life I'm living because of those things. Those things are still as much a part of me, and I can carry them as long as I like. Like I don't have to, they can be an identifier. I can say, I'm just going to say like PTSD, for example. That can be an identifier, but I can carry that as long as I like. It doesn't have to be like the forefront of who I am. I know I'm not being as articulate as I want to be, but you know what I mean? Where sometimes you wrap your identity around this thing that happened to you rather than I am this person and that thing happened to me. And I think for a lot of my struggle in my adulthood was saying, you know, I am this, which is made up of all of these things. One of, you know, this bad thing and this bad thing, but also these good things as well.
Yeah.
So all of them make me, and
like building a Lego house, but some of the bricks are green instead of red.
Or blue, green and blue.
Or
yeah,
blue.
Exactly. So that kind of thing, rather than just being like, I am this trauma, or I am, you know. So for me, exploring that topic was really important for the show. I was just kind of like hoping that we would explore it, but I never really set out to do that with the players. It's not like I sat down with the players and was like, okay, these are the main themes that I want you guys to be hitting on every episode. When the trailer released, I think I sat down when they were doing character creation. I told them kind of generally the themes, and I was like, but we're not going to hit on all of those. So whatever we do in the show, we'll go in whatever direction you guys decide to focus on. And they did, you know, Dan, bless
the cast drove the direction on
they did.
PB would, like, we'd have a conversation on a Wednesday, and like working on production stuff. Yeah. And then, like, PB, you'd bounce some ideas off me, which was so fun to be part of and see that happening. But you'd be like, oh, I have this idea. This is where it's going, and this is what I want. But then the characters would take what you did and with the music, we'll create this whole new thing out of it, which completely changes the direction of where you wanted to go originally. Yeah. And so then I'd come back to you. You can be made up of things, but that doesn't mean you go in that direction.
That's true. Oh.
Things can inform you, but they don't
force you. Yeah, they don't. I like that.
There's some panpipes here. Wow,
I like them.
Panpipe music.
You did, Yanni. Look out, Yanni!
I've become everything I've hated.
Oh God. Okay, let's go through some of these questions. I feel like
that's a good idea.
We've done a lot of just rambling here. We're doing pretty well, I think. Between the two of you, the experience has been much more of a show than a game. How would you say what you do at Table Story differs from a traditional showrunner or game master? What elements of both do you use to inform your creative process? Wow, that is a really good question.
This is definitely more for you, but I definitely have.
Yeah, go for it.
The second half of that.
Yeah.
But the first half, that is, because Table Story is very different.
Yeah.
It's hard to watch some roleplay shows now because I've been spoiled, as many people have, by the way Table Story does things. Correct. They don't. You guys don't make a game. You make a show.
Yeah.
You make like Netflix originals. You don't. Oh. You're not streaming. You know what I mean? You're putting on an experience for sure.
That's what I look at it as. I like to look at it as an interactive experience, and the audience is always like a huge part of, or at least it was for Nocturne, and you know, obviously Gone, it just wasn't revealed exactly what it was until the end, which I think some people still didn't even realize. But yeah, it's
a lot of people in the Discord don't realize how much they informed stuff of what happened in the show. Yeah, from the smallest thing to the largest things. Yeah. I think there's a question about the puzzles, which we should get to later.
Oh, yeah. We should talk about a little bit about those too. Any chance of uploading the soundtrack to the Table Story YouTube channel? Probably not going to upload it on YouTube, right, Peachy?
It's no. Well, it is up everywhere.
That it's going to be up, which is Apple.
Basically,
I'll let you
every
say.
Digital store site.
Yeah.
You can find it on there.
Yeah, but we're not gonna be uploading it to the YouTubes. Okay. What would surprise viewers the most that we might otherwise never know about? I think we covered that with the pissing contest.
That was the question. I saw it. I'm like,
okay.
I need to tell the story.
I need to know. Let's see here. Peachy, I know for us, the viewers and the cast, I see what you did there. We had moments, and by moments I mean the whole show, where the music felt so in tune with what was happening at the very moment, and that impact it carried is tremendous. As a creator of the music, watching and listening to it, how does it feel seeing all these things come together? Okay, we actually answered that. I'm so sorry. I should have read that before I started reading it out loud.
With I think I touched on it with John noticing stuff in music.
Yeah.
But the whole cast did that. One moment that it's probably fresh in my mind because it not long happened. I was editing the podcast, and they were talking about. Can you hear that? Like, I think it was Speth. She's like, I can hear Mother's song. And it was so subtle. It was so subtle at the start of this track. And they all picked up on it, probably because we've been feeding it like constantly for 33 episodes or whatever.
But we did it.
Them this tune.
We were hoping that they would pick up on it, and they did.
And the cast always.
I remember
John
that
did
moment.
it the most because I think he's got that musician ear. But the cast were acting to the music, which is, again, like I said earlier, it's a strange thing to experience, but it's beautiful to see something new be created from ingredients that you've added.
Yeah, so fucking good. Where can I buy the soundtrack? Again, it's Apple, Google Music. I'm Peachy. You're gonna have to help me because I don't know where all of the things.
Basically, I think it's on Napster. It's on Deezer.
Yeah, it's everywhere. So you should just look for. Do you have like a set of links somewhere?
I can probably get that. Well, we got Amazon. We got Apple Music, iTunes, Agami.
Yeah, it's
MediaNet.
It's everywhere that it's available.
It's even on Instagram if you want to put it on your stories.
Shut
Google
up!
Music,
for real?
iHeartRadio. Yeah. Claro Music.
Oh, I'm totally gonna do that.
Napster. It's so cool to see me on Napster because I grew up with that.
Yeah.
NetEase, Pandora. It's everywhere. Saven. It's on Soundtrack by Twitch.
Is it really?
I didn't know it went up on that.
Oh wow, okay.
Anyway.
Oh boy. Okay, let's see. What else have I not played yet? Should we do requests? Oh, I'm going to play this one.
There is one song which I asked you. I was like, did you ever play this?
Which one?
I think it was Along the Club.
No, I didn't. The one that you most recently sent me, I don't think I did. I don't know if I had it. I'm going to play this one. Yeah.
Sorry, let me open
somebody
up
asked,
PB.
I'm just going to go ahead and answer this. Somebody asked about the this version of this song. So I'll go ahead and play that now. A MIG synthwave, and that I used it a couple of times in the intro of the show, but why didn't I use it more, or like paying attention to when I used it? I used it I was originally using it with the purpose of being like letting you guys know where the episode would be taking place in the beginning. Like, is it in the Swimulation, or is it in the other, is it in Nibiru? But then I made a version of this for the credits. So when I started using the credits rolling on the end of the show, I used the synth version for that, and then I used the regular version for the beginning. So that's what that was.
The way you used, like, I did give you a lot of music, but the way you used stuff to hint at differences in scenes and why they were being used, I thought was really good.
Thank you. Do you remember when we did that like crazy like intro video where it was like the breaking down with the eye and you were like helping me with that? Yeah.
One of those things was a mistake.
Yeah.
In the middle, where it flickers?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to get rid of that. I'm like, don't you dare. That's the coolest thing.
Yeah. I was like, I accidentally did this. And you were like, no, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. Yeah. So we hit a whole bunch of stuff together, like throughout the production process. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed it.
There aren't any finished or fully realized tracks that we didn't use apart from this one, which doesn't even have a name.
Yep. Let me end this guy here. I don't remember if this was.
This was one of the club ideas when they were going into the heart.
Yeah. Yeah, it's too clubby.
It's very club.
Yep.
But it doesn't really do much. It's very clubby.
Yeah.
But I think that's the only fully realized song that wasn't actually used because Peebs was like, "Give you got any more of that audio shit?"
Yeah.
Well, I've got this. What? I got some. I'll get it done. I got an hour.
Oh my God. Okay. PB, how would you say having the composer at arm's length affected the mood? Okay, so we talked about that a bit already. A lot of these we actually answered in our rambling.
Well, we're just chatting.
Yeah. You mentioned before that you tend to use music while writing and setting the mood. Is this an instance you had pretty much written most of it prior to getting the music, and you can make the music match your text instead? Which method do you prefer? I did a lot of my initial writing to that other soundtrack that I mentioned. But once Peachy gave me the music, I wrote exclusively to the music for the show. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And that was, I would try to do it on Spotify so you could see that I was listening to it or which ones I was listening to while I was writing. But some of it wasn't available, so I would have to listen to, I'd listen to it on my computer. But yeah, I wrote exclusively to the stuff that you sent me. Particularly...
Some of the songs are very personal to PB, written with PB in mind because it's her vision.
I wrote with this one a lot. This is one of my favorites.
You know that?
Mm-hmm.
That is...
It's not you pissing. Don't tell me it's you pissing.
It's not me pissing. It's actually a very short sample of someone running a thimble up this... what's it called? You know, they put it in concrete to strengthen it?
No.
They put metal in concrete when they're making foundations.
Rebar.
There we go. And they're running a thimble on it. Was on this guy. He makes awesome Foley, and I'm like, oh, that's a cool sound. But it's slowed down, and then it's got effects on it, so it doesn't sound like it's slowed down, and made it a musical note.
Fucking
Rebar.
awesome.
Chat thinks it might be Rebar. What do you reckon?
Oh wow! Look at that, aiding us. I love it.
I think it might be Rebar.
It might be Rebar. Yeah, just maybe. But yeah,
the great thing about electronic musicianship is I can't play instruments very well at all, but I can make anything sound like whatever the fuck I want it to, and that's just the coolest thing in the world. To go, hey, did you know this is a drunk monkey being punched by a baboon? Oh, it sounds like a piano. I was like, yeah, it does.
Okay. Dave asks a question for you. Is the soundtrack release master different to the tracks used in the show?
Usually I would do that, but this release is not. I think the
I
third
thought you
release will
remastered
be.
stuff. Oh, okay.
I tweaked some things, but I didn't. What you would usually do is you'd make an album version, but these are the tracks that are used in the show. When I master for an album and then convert it to MP3, after I've sent off the MP3, I'll keep it in a RAW, but I'll delete all the MP3s, so I will remaster when I upload.
Okay.
But I don't go into it and change it to be... most artists do that. I don't. And also the Synthwave album had to go out very quickly because I hadn't had time to work on it, so that is simply just EQ that, make sure it sounds good. But a lot of the tracks, they will loop perfectly because
they're so fucking good. Yeah.
Because they will loop absolutely perfectly.
I think that's noticeable because I think a couple people have said I've been listening to this on repeat, and it's just you don't realize that it's on repeat, and it's like, well, he made that for me so that I could use it in a show where I don't have to keep track. I can just keep repeating. So yeah,
that's a skill I learned working for Table Story. Like the start of a song, if you just listen to it, it's like, oh, that's a weird way to start it. It's because the start of the song is actually on the end of the song, so they link up perfectly.
I have a question that I would like to read from Tassin that says, do you know what happened to the characters after the fade to black on episode 33? Or did you leave that open to yourself as well? So I asked them not to tell me what they decided. So I don't know what the players chose to do, but I have in my heart an answer. that I chose myself. And I personally think there is no other answer. But it could be because I'm reading into the rest of what's in the show. Like, to me, yeah.
You purposely left that. I remember you saying, and I remember chat getting rabid when you ended the last episode.
I was very scared
I
to
knew
do
it
the
was
finale
coming as well.
Yeah.
And I people who watch Gone, and I talk to people about Gone in the show, were like, what the fuck, you can't just, what, I didn't end it.
I know. I was very,
Did you know this was gonna happen? Yeah.
Yeah, I did, because I was scared. I was really scared to end it that way. And I remember telling you, like, I'd like to do this. And I remember waiting for your reaction, because your reaction was a big determining factor on whether or not I was ballsy enough to do it.
Really?
Yeah. I asked a couple people. I asked Mergs too, I think, where I was just like, this is what I think I want to do. And both of you were like, that's perfect. And I was like, oh, thank God. Okay. Because I think it's perfect as well. But I wasn't sure.
What I want to happen is different to what you want to happen.
Yeah.
There's three happenings, right?
Yeah, so that is something that I will thank you for bringing that up, because it's probably the hardest part of Gone. There are 3 possible answers for this show, at least. I mean, there's probably a million different answers, but there are 3 possibilities that I wrote into the show that I struggled very hard to make sure that if you went back and watched it, any 3 of those options could still hold true. So, am I going to tell you what I think happened or what I like? No, because I think that it's maybe one day, but not now. I do think Gone is a very personal journey, and I think that you, the viewer, and I need to sit with the fact that sometimes we don't always get answers, and sometimes we need to make the answer ourselves, and we need to be, life is what we make it, and Gone is what you make it, and you can carry it as long as you like. And I think I knew it would be frustrating. I knew for a lot of people who want answers, I was terrified people were going to be like, oh my God, it's like fucking the horrific ending of Lost. And like, I was very concerned that people were going to be very upset without direct closure. But I think it was perfect.
The ideas of how it would end.
Yeah.
Constantly throughout your writing process.
Yeah.
When you were talking to me about stuff.
Yeah.
I think you used to bounce some stuff off me just to figure out what you were feeling.
Yeah. Yep, I did.
And I remember saying things, oh yeah, but what if they choose that one? That one doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And I remember being like,
very conscious of making sure that any of those answers are the correct answer.
Yeah. And it was very important to me that, and it was very ambitious, because I think when I came to you, Peachy, about like the ending, the like possible endings, I was like, I have 2 of them solid. Like, you can go back and look at everything in the show, and there's proof for these 2. But this third one, like, is it too ambitious of me to try to do 3 because of the rule of 3s and blah, blah, blah? And Peachy in that instance pushed me. He was like, it's got to be 3, peeps. Go back and write. Go back and fucking write it. Make it work. It's got to be 3. And I was like,
and they
you're
all
right.
Work.
Yeah.
You can decide on an answer today and it works, and the next week you can, no, wait a minute, they did this instead, and it will still work. That's what's great about Gone. There is so much you fill in with your own memories of the show, of what makes sense to you.
I will answer this, however. I do have one question. Maybe this is more for John at the very end. Was that Dex just breathing in to say their answer, or was that Dex gasping? That was Dex remembering to breathe in before he answered. That was breathe in. Oh my God.
How much of the Marvel Cinematic Universe informed the end of each episode?
I actually, I've seen Iron Man. And that's it.
Do they have a post-scene?
Oh, and Wonder Woman.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you mean because of the end scenes, the post scenes?
Yeah, the post-scene credits, which were like made popular by the extended Marvel Universe.
Yeah, no, that's actually a thing that we started in Nocturne. And I don't know when it happened or why it happened, but after the end credits, we would just leave tidbits for those who stayed and watched. So fucking bomb for those of you who have been watching on, YouTube, or you've been listening to the podcast version and you didn't have live chat to tell you that there's a little treat at the end of each episode. But there is, surprise, go back and listen to either the podcast version of the show, the very end after the credits song plays. There's always like a little bit of a something there for you. And except for the finale 33, and I had something written, and at the last second I was like, there needs to be silence, and I am so glad that I didn't do that.
Waiting for it,
yeah,
and then that silence,
and then the silence,
volumes.
yeah, was like bam,
That was very. You crafted an amazing show. It really did.
Did the players know that you were going to end it right then, or were they like, what? So for the finale episode, I did tell the 3 players, I was like, there's going to come a moment where there's going to be like a decision for you to make. You cannot make it if you don't want to. You can talk about it, but I would prefer, in my ideal world, that before you answer, I cut to black. And they were all like, yes, that is perfect. That is fucking phenomenal. Queen. I don't know what you're going to ask us. We don't know what's coming, but absolutely we're down. And originally it was going to be the 3 of them answering together. And at the last second, Brad and Speth were like, it should be Dex. Yeah. And that just felt right. A lot of what we decided was what felt right at the time. So, yeah, okay. Should we?
What an ending. Come on.
Yeah. Can I say something though? Can I say something? Because this was an accident. I'm sorry. Can I say something? Where's the song?
You literally have your button on your finger on the stream button.
Hold on.
You can.
I can say whatever I want. Where's the mom song that I was like, you can't,
Guidance?
Yeah. No, that's not the one. The one that uses my voice that I was like, please don't use my voice. And then you used my voice. And it was good.
It was so good.
It is very good. But I was like, oh, I don't like the sound of my voice. What's it called, though?
Most people didn't even know.
I know. Nobody said anything. I loved it. Also, and I just spoiled it by saying it was me. But what's it called, though, so I can play it?
You
Is
do
it
some
Transpire?
fantastic harmonies in there, even though you sent me one recording.
Thank you. It's not this one, but I fucking love this song. God damn it. God, this one's so good. It's got the fucking theme. Oh, listen to that crying mother. Oh! Crying mother. Okay, but what's the name of the song that we used for the finale? What's it called?
It is.
Why can't I see it on here? What have I done? Where did I put it?
What have you done? I just scroll through and I've just seen a track that says, "Is this what you mean?"
Yeah.
Oh, I think I've got a recording of something going through the Matrix.
Oh, is it Hello Mother?
It might be.
Yes, this is the one. Right?
Yeah.
This is it. PB, I think you told us it was on your stream. Yes. So I did. But for those who haven't been to because I don't expect you to come watch me play video games. But so for this song, I hit play, and bless this fucking program that Jay the Way wrote for me to be able to use, like, production wise. I saw on the clock, I was like, okay, this song is 6 minutes. Here's another crazy fucking thing. Are you ready? I hate the sound of my own voice. I didn't listen to this song prior to playing it in the show.
Oh, you told me that.
Yeah.
I shit myself.
Yeah. Yeah. You were like, what if she hates it? Yeah. And I was like, nope, I have to, I sent it to Mercs, and I was like, I need you right now. I need you to listen to the song. I need you to tell me if I can use it during this scene that I'm thinking of using it. And she listened to it and she was like, oh, wow, are you sure you don't want to listen to it? And I was like, stop it. I can't. It's got my voice in it. I can't hear it. And she was like, yes, you need to. It's perfect. So I had not heard the song, but when I hit play, I looked at it and was like, okay, we've got 6 minutes till the end of the song. And I waited and I just let them like talk and, you know, do their stuff. And then I was like, okay, we've got, and in the Zoom chat, I said, we've got 1 minute remaining on this song if you want to end when the song ends. And so they kept doing their thing. And John breathed out at the the most perfect moment in the song. It wasn't planned. He hadn't heard it. I hadn't even heard it. And then so when I cut to black, it was just like I remember us sitting there after for just a second being like, how did that happen? How? Because it still showed like 5 seconds left on the track because there's silence at the end of the track, Peachy. I have no idea how we timed it. You know, like it was just so good. It was just so good. It must be John could tell what you were doing. Ugh. It's me. I hate it. I hate it. But it's good.
So, you know, you just said, oh, that's me. I hate it.
Yeah.
This bass line?
Yeah.
That's you.
No, it's not.
Yeah. The schwa, this bit, that's your voice as well. This track is made almost, not entirely, but almost entirely of your voice. That bass, that's you. It's pitched down a couple of times. I messed with the phase. It's you singing. And then all the different melodies are me adjusting the pitch, so it's more of a chord. That one is not you.
Yeah. Yeah, John.
You can hear you going,
yeah. That I knew was me. John has a musical ear. He can tell what the music is going to do even without knowing what he knows. Yeah. PB's mother confirmed. Yeah. It ended up working out.
Knowing that John was going to use.
Yeah.
After the, I think it was the first episode, he heard something. It was his song. And he picked it out, and we messed with that. And
we fucked with it. Yep, I have it. Do you want me to play it real quick?
Songs in.
Yeah.
And he was like,
"Is that my song?" Yeah, that in episode 1, his reaction is real. He's like, "Is that my song?" As in, John, like, "Is that my song?" Yes, John. Yes, it is. We snuck it in there to surprise the shit out of you and blur the line between reality and game. Oh yeah. He caught it instantly. Yeah, it was so good. It was so good. I remember
picking out certain words that made sense for the show from that we put in that.
Yeah. And the fact that we were like, what song do we use of John's? And then you found one and I was like, yeah, that sounds great. The lyrics, we made sure the lyrics made sense. And then also you were like, look at the title of this track, Peebs. It's called Tread That Water. And I was like, fuck off. Fuck off. It was so good. It was so good. It was so good.
There's some stuff in John's song. I remember putting it in just to entertain John because he gave me so much joy from that first episode of like he can hear the music. Like PB plays music a lot louder than other shows. It's just in the background.
It's because I can't help it.
Used it to drive a lot.
Yeah, I do. I recognize that I play the music a lot louder than people are expecting because it's important. I want it to be like a show. I don't want it to be just like filling the silence, filling the space. It's part of the space, at least for me.
That informs my production as well.
Thank you.
Because you have to make room for people to talk.
Yeah.
Like if I want my music to be loud, I'm a narcissist. Listen to me. I'm really great on Spotify and everything. But like you got to leave space for people to talk. This is all stuff that I've learned whilst making music. I think there's a question about this later, so I'll get onto it then.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
PB drove this entire album. I was just a tool that it just came out of.
No, I really feel like it was collaborative. And again, I'll say again, I feel like
you were directing.
You've spoiled me a bit on the experience because I don't know. I don't know if I will ever experience anything quite like this. Mostly because
I don't know if I'll enjoy making one as much.
And I definitely won't be making 47 gigabytes.
Yeah, no, never again. Never again. Never again. But it's just because the show, like, I was very ambitious. I was trying to do a thing. I was setting out to, like, you know, make a existential fucking statement. And it's like, you know.
I was on board from
I know you were.
Sentence one. It's so exciting to someone come to you and go, I want to do this, and the music is very important and it needs to be crafted and chiseled.
Yeah.
Oh, hello. How you doing?
And I think one of the things that I said to you too, now that I'm remembering, I was like, I would love for you to do the soundtrack, but I'm gonna be a bitch about it. Like, I'm gonna be a hard ass. There's a specific thing that I have in mind. There's a lot of crazy hidden stuff I want to put in the music, and it's gonna be like, it's very important to the show, so I'm gonna be a hard ass about it. And he was like,
so tantalizing as a creator to be like,
okay.
oh. Imagine making this person happy with their insane demands. I can do this. There was some times where I'm like, I can't do this.
But you did it.
Because I was pushed to do it. Oh, look, it's just you there.
Yeah.
And that sounds great.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's answer more questions.
Oh, we probably should.
We probably should do that. Okay. Could you please ask Peachy if the activities in the shows as they aired ever influenced his musical creativity for future shows?
Yes.
Ooh.
Like I've just said, the way I go about making music now is harder. It's gonna take longer because, I can smash out, and I've smashed out OSTs in. Okay, so there was a table story show called Crash City. I made an album. It took me 2 months-ish to make it. And then when the person who it was for heard it, they were like, I like this, but it's not right.
Yeah,
I made an album in 3 days.
Yeah.
Which people seem to like. But
that
this
first album, by the way, is on Spotify for
Yes.
you all to listen to.
The first one,
Synth
and
Nights,
then
right?
the one that actually went on the show.
Yeah.
So it's Synth Nights would be the one I actually made, which was, and Wack was absolutely right that it wasn't right. Because we're friends, he can just say that to me and I will fully accept it. It's like when I'm fighting with PB going, you need this. And you're like, Mitch, if I can't hear a yapping chihuahua in this song, I don't want it. I'm like, oh, okay. There's no yapping chihuahuas in the soundtrack.
But it's like a good, I mean, it's accurate. I think I said that about like the wobble. I was like, if it doesn't sound like a machine breathing, right? Wait, where is it? Here, wobble mother.
Oh, this bass sound is so good.
It's so good. And it does. It's like the heartbeat, but also like
It's just the pounding machine, isn't it?
Yeah. This is the one where I was like, I want it to sound this way. And then also the way when you sent it to me, I was like, oh God, it makes me think of like when you breathe in and the thing that if you're looking at the human body exposed and cut open, the flap that like, just because it reverberates a bit.
So this sound, you can actually make this sound in your head. If you try and move your ears, you can hear this rumble in your head.
I can move my ears. Did you know that?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Hold on. Okay, you ready? This is so dumb.
I'm ready. It's like here, like I don't know what it does, but you can kind of hear the blood like rushing, and it sounds like this. But this is a machine pounding, but also it's the lifeblood of Nibiru. So.
Yeah, and I played it a lot during that.
I actually edited this podcast, was one of the ones I did.
Yeah, this wobble one.
Great. It's like over a scene.
Oh, do you remember this? Do you remember when I was like, now this is a huge fucking spoiler, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
Who's watching this? A Roundtable?
No, I know, but I just mean like, I wasn't sure I was ever gonna talk about this. But do you remember when I was like, we're probably going to an 8-bit world at some point.
Oh yeah!
Yeah, and I was
we need that whole split worlds thing.
And I was like, we're going to need to do that. And he did this song. He did a version of this song here where I say 8-bit, but it's not really 8-bit. It was like a defragged version. Everything was like blocky and weird. So before you guys think like, gamey 8-bit, it was supposed to be like just everything was like textured and strange, and you could like see lines in the wall like where they weren't supposed to be. Yeah.
So this song is actually made of basic waveforms like triangles and squares and sine waves, rather than an instrument that sounds like an instrument.
Yeah, like Minecrafty. Yeah, sort of like that.
Is
yeah,
a sine wave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was really good.
Voxel based. Yeah.
So yeah, he made this when we were thinking that, and then the show went a little bit in a different direction. That's the only thing that I feel like I'm very happy with how the show went, especially because we didn't. Like, part of what I love about the show is that we didn't go to all of the worlds, because Speth had that revelation and took over the narrative in the most beautiful way. And had I remained in control of that, we would have probably gone to more worlds. But like, just the way that it happened, and because she took control of the narrative, it ended up being that we ended the show on episode 33. Like, it's just perfect in all the ways in which it's perfect. It's perfect. But I do, part of me is like, I had so much planned for you in these worlds, and I wish that you could have seen them. But that's okay. Maybe we'll visit them in another way.
I've got some other 8-bit stuff.
That I've never heard?
I don't know.
This is the only one you ever sent me. Fucking spoil us. Let's go.
What
Let's
was
go.
that one called?
That one was called The Eighth Lure.
The Eighth Lure. So we got eight Magdala.
Yes, come on, let's go.
I love 8-bit. That's why I'm called Pixelate. I forgot about these. I don't know what this one is. This could be anything, Peebs.
Okay, good luck.
Just says arcade.
Yep, go for it. Anxiety attack?
It sounds like the note progression. But it's scaled up to major.
This is the mother theme, but made happy?
Basically, yeah.
You fucker. Nice.
Oh, and then it goes into the... I forgot about these. The subtle 8 of drowning. I don't think that's a thing.
Oh yeah, come on. That's like one of my favorite tracks.
My actual music program. This wasn't even exported. This might be absolutely nothing.
Okay, fingers crossed.
We'll
I think I vaguely remember you saying the subtle art of drowning isn't 8-bitting very well. I think I remember you saying that. So it's totally up to you if you want to play it, but it is one of my favorite tracks. And then it drops. Yeah. So a lot of people are asking if there's going to be, that the mother theme wasn't on chapter 2. And what I have to say to you is, bitches, you think we're only going to release 2 albums on a show that's like the rule of 3s? No, there is a third chapter 3 coming for the OST, which is a lot of the songs that you haven't heard yet. The mother theme is one of them, right?
This is Final Fantasy stuff.
I fucking love it.
Still got the old drums.
Yeah, it does. Okay, you bitch.
We made a lot of music for this show.
Where can I toss money at this musical boy? Right here. Drop some subs. Twitch.tv/PeachyPixel8. Or you can go to Patreon. PeachyPixel8.
The 8-bit ends really soon.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe, just hear me out. What if we did 4 albums?
There is a lot of stuff I need to go through. Like, some of this is not good for human ears. It's okay to get a little snippet of it.
Yeah. No, it's there's a lot. Like, Corpus isn't on the second one. The Mother song isn't on there. A lot of the songs I used towards the end.
The first album is the OST. The second is the synthwave version. There's also 2 new songs on there because they didn't go into synth very well. So I made new songs for that one.
Yeah.
Like, from scratch.
Yeah. And then there's
something that's called.
Did you put the
Ewu?
Ewu or Uwu?
Ewu. I don't know what this is.
You want to hit play? What is it? I love that we're just like, sure, fucking try it.
This is in the Gone thing. This was for something.
Is this the... No,
I think this
I
might
know
have
what
been
this
the
is.
combat
This
one.
was your first combat that you sent me, and I was like, no. I was like,
I
no.
really like 8-bit. No, I think that was when we were talking about the 8-bit world. And
Oh,
then
yeah,
I
you were
made
gonna do, like, a
whole
fight scene?
Dustfire soundtrack just for 1 or 2 episodes.
you made a what?
A Dustfire album. I didn't.
Oh, I was
used
like-
the Dustfire album.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah, I did. Oh, yeah, I used Dust Veil. I used the original music from that. That's right. You confused me for a second.
The
so I was
original
like,
masters.
yeah, I
'Cause
did.
She knew the
It was
musician.
really just the way I could get the soundtrack. I was like, I want this. Please give me this. No, it was very, very good.
$5 a month on Patreon. You could have had it, Pabes.
I did. I subbed to you on Patreon and I downloaded everything that you had.
I subbed to you on Patreon too.
Yeah, I was like, are you kidding me? You're amazing. Of course I am. I want to know secretly what it was is like, I want to know who else he's writing music for.
Is he cheating on me with OSTs?
With other OSTs! Oh, God. Okay. Let me see what other questions I have.
Sorry for that offshoot.
No,
Just-
no.
I
Don't
saw
never
it.
apologize. This has been so fun. How many variations did songs go through until they were ready? It seems like you went back and forth on a bunch of them. Not really. Like, it's not like you sent me a complete song and I was like, no, redo it. It was more like he'd send me bits and pieces to get my opinion on it. And I'd be like, more water or more percussion, less bass or, whatever. And then he'd come back. And then by the time the song was done and he sent it to me, I was like, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. The only one I think I really pushed him on was the sad song and the combat theme of Gone, where I very specifically wanted to not use piano because I wanted it to be different. Yeah, those are the main ones that I was like,
I
yeah.
have a secret.
Yeah,
Sometimes I'd send PB stuff with bits in it that I knew she wouldn't like to distract her from the thing that I really wanted to push through, which ended up being in the song because it worked really well. there are a couple of things I sent you, and there was like, and you'd be like, oh, can we get rid of that? And then you might touch on the thing a bit, but then it would be part of this. I got a lot past Peeps. I did get a few things past her. I think that's how I originally got the bass past the
it is.
combat track.
Yeah, because I was like, absolutely none. And then, yeah, you were like,
I think the first one I sent you was like full on dubstep, like bass.
Yeah, and I was
and
like,
you were like,
what
can
are
you
you
tone
doing?
that down? I'm like, yes, I can. Let me just
Tone
unmute
down.
that one and mute that one. Oh, look.
Look, there it is.
I toned it down.
Perfect.
It's the original bass line that I wrote.
Oh my God. Okay. Let me look through some of these. What originally inspired Gone for you? Like, what was the kernel that sparked, yeah, I could run a game with this. Okay, so this is a fun thought experiment. I didn't know this because I started writing Gone. Like, my first document, I think, is November 14th of last year. But the way that I'm writing it seems like I've already been thinking about it for a while. My memory's trash. I can't remember the first time I was like, I want to sit down and write a show about this. But we all know it's an existential journey. So for me, obviously I'm thinking about those things all the time. It's not something that I sat down and was like struck by lightning. However, some clever shit found an episode of Nocturne where I was like, I always thought it'd be interesting if, and I literally just said the fucking thing for Gone, and I'm like, somebody saw that and posted it in the Discord, and I watched it, and I was like, dude, like, I told them what I was gonna do, and like, midway through Gone, they found it and put it in there, and I went, oh, yeah, Vixie found it, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's the moment when I was thinking about the new show. That's the fucking moment.
It's just like memories inform a person, I think.
Yeah, I think I
creatives have these ideas that are just not full ideas. They're like, oh, there's this and there's that, and then that will go into what you're creating.
Yeah. And I think, like, and what's crazy too to think about this is that 15 Floors is Gone in a bite-sized format. Like, I wanted to touch on what I touched on in Gone for a long time. So when I did 15 Floors, I was like, I want to do this kind of like theme, like memories and stuff, making up.
I was in with you.
Yeah.
15 floors.
Mm-hmm.
I've called it 13 floors, 14 floors. I don't know how many floors there are.
Of course, that's
my
perfect.
memory is trash.
Yeah, memory's trash. No, it's good. Yeah,
Also,
it's 15
I was playing
floors.
a drug addict with a terrible memory.
Yeah, you nailed that, by the way. You also did the soundtrack for that. You used my fish tank, and
that was so much fun to make.
Yeah, I used some of the music for Nocturne after that too, because I was like, "Ooh, I know you technically made it for 15 floors, but it's in the same universe, so I'm gonna do it."
The extended Pumpkinberry universe.
Yeah. Quick question: will there ever be a release on Bandcamp? I'll answer this. No, Peachy hates Bandcamp.
I don't hate Bandcamp.
I'm just kidding. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have said that. It was a joke. Please continue.
Bandcamp is a very good site for independent musicians, and support your musicians by going to Bandcamp. I'm not on there.
Okay. Are there any aspects of Earth simulation or Nibiru itself?
PB's like memeing.
Yep, sorry,
like Brad,
I was memeing.
I'm like PB going, no, wait.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I was kidding. Did I, Zagoticus? Did I miss any big ones here? I feel like I've got some. I feel like I answered most of these. Ooh, is the common melody that is present in all the songs something that came from Nibiru, or was it the first song Sashnik sang for the crew, or was it something else entirely? I like all three of those answers, Rigger. Let's see here. Peachy, did you pull on specific media for inspiration, songs or movies?
No, actually.
Yeah. I will.
Okay, no, that's a lie. There's a heavy Matrix influence, but I was around in the 90s, so everything I do has a heavy Matrix influence.
Yeah. So it's so funny because like people kept making comparisons to the Matrix very early on in the show, and I'm like, yes, but no. Like the comparisons that they were making were the simulation comparisons and not the fucking walk through the door. The Morpheus line of like, I could show you the door, you have to walk through it. Like, and I just kind of, I appreciated it though, because I put a few Matrix nods in there. Like the Courier New podcast is the name of the newspaper that Neo has scrolling by when he's sleeping. It's Courier News Press, and it has the picture of Morpheus dreaming, by the way. Like, God of Dreams. So I was like, ooh, that's totally what I'm going to call this podcast and the show. It's just like a nod to that. And there were a couple of other nods to, films or other stuff that I liked that influenced me that I purposely put in Gone to be like, hey, I love this thing. I would love to tell everyone to go watch the movie Coherence because it's fucking great. And I think you will enjoy it, especially if you like, Gone. And there is a question that I would love to ask you after you've watched it. So you'd have to go to my Discord for that because you can be like, PB, what's the question? And then I'll ask you, and then you'll have to go back and rewatch the movie again.
I should also go play the game or read the book. I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream.
Which one?
I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream.
I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. I haven't played that yet. I own it, but I haven't played it yet. So maybe I'll do that.
It's a bit old. You need to be aware.
I play old games, right?
Well, you'll be fine. I'm talking to...
other people. Okay.
Other people who don't have the... Like, you played through Blade Runner before it had its new GOG release.
Yeah, that's
you were
true.
A trooper.
That's true. I was, very much a trooper. Some people in the chat are asking where to ask questions. You can just at us right now if you'd like, because I think we're getting ready to wrap up. But... I hope that we answered your questions. I tried to answer everything as best as I could. Oh, PB, who was the person in Dustvale that entered the arena? Was that going to be a new character? If I think I know, again, it was ages ago, but if I think I know who you're referring to, are you referring to the man in red who fired the gun? Oh, no. I know exactly who that was. Okay, so I will answer both these questions. The man who shot the gun is actually a direct reference to a character that another streamer, Fairlight, played in Dustvale called Raja the Red. And he was the one who shot Run in that episode.
Easter eggs from Brad's
the person who entered Dustvale was Lucian. And they just never went back and ran into him. But that was who that was.
I remember you talking about what's gonna happen when...
Yeah, I had like a whole episode set aside that was like called Lucian where we could potentially have explored that, but we just never did. But my God, it was so good. It was going to be.
Somebody's asking.
It was going to be very similar to. No, it's okay. It was going to be very similar to like that Dex moment where he like washed up. I was going to start it the same way, except it was Lucian, and we were going to see what happened. Yeah, I expected Lucian. Yeah, that's who it was.
I remember you going back and forth, like, oh well, what is this? And
I wasn't sure what they were going to do. Yeah.
You were thinking there was going to be a lot more worlds to explore.
Yeah.
Back then, when you were still writing.
Yeah, and then I was like, I need to reel it in. Yeah, because at first I was like infinite. They could roll a number.
Hard for you?
That was very hard for me.
To dial it back.
Yeah, because in my ideal world, they go in and it's a fucking D100, and they just pick, whatever number they land on. I have something prepared, and then I had to be realistic and be like, bitch, you cannot write fucking 20 worlds or 100 worlds. And originally, like when I originally had the idea, I was like, I'm gonna change fucking systems every time they go to a new world. So if they're going to a fantasy world, guess what? We're playing D&D, and that kind of stuff. They go to the world of Nocturne, we're bringing back unknown armies, that kind of thing. And then I was like, that's insane. That is insanity. We can't do that. So yeah, I had to reel that back.
Playing one episode as a D&D 5e.
Yep.
You floated that idea as well.
Yep. I was thinking that. I think it would just got to the point where I was like, no, that's insane. And also in a completely different direction of where I wanted to go with the show and what I wanted to do. It felt, when we got there, it felt too distracting to just change systems. And then
diluting the idea.
Yeah. And then it's more about like exploring these worlds. And it's like this, lighthearted sliders, which is originally kind of one of the things I wanted to do with this show. I was like, I want to do a sliders type show where every episode they're in like a new world. Yeah. You told me Quantum Leap. I've never seen that show, but it's like, I had that idea, and then it just like morphed, and then I got this system, and then it morphed into something else. Like that's part of what I threw out, is that whole idea of moving from world to world. Every episode would be somewhere new. And when I got Nibiru, the rule book, and I was like, it's too fucking cool not to do this as home base, So I did change a lot of that. PB, what happened with Run's memories after he sold them? People bought them. That is a very interesting question. How do I answer? Some of them ended up being intercepted by the Nexi Sunbearers, believe it or not. And the rest, I think, were purchased by the Yankee to study, which is something I never actually told Run. So, oh boy.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to get over the sheep?
A long time. I'm still not over him, to be honest. I have an emote for him. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It's PBTV soup. He is sitting in front of a bowl of soup that Adam made. Yeah.
After playing a show that switched rule sets, do you have regrets, or are you glad that you didn't do it?
Brad, I feel like sometimes Brad and I said to him the other night, I was like, here's my fucking theory on what's happening in Dying Order, and I'm just going to vomit it all over you, and you can't reply to me because you can't spoil me in the show because I'm in the show. But here's my fucking theory. And then I said, if you and I both walked away and wrote the same show just in a different way, I'm going to lose my mind. Like, how fucking cool is that? Yeah, I feel like, and then, I keep telling Brad, like, we have to collab at some point because I feel like the two of us would be a powerhouse, like unstoppable if we put our minds to something. But yeah, I think it's perfect for Dying Order. Like I was so shocked when he did that, when he switched systems, but it's fucking perfect. I had mild regret. I was like, maybe I should have done it because it worked so well in Dying Order. But upon reflection, I really do think it would have changed the tone of Gone too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were some episodes of Gone that were a lot more lighthearted.
Yeah.
And that definitely felt less Gone.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Some like the original Dustvale. That first bit that was fun.
That was pure. It was really fun because it was like we'd had some heavy stuff before that, and it was nice to have that little break.
Yeah.
It didn't feel gone, but it was.
I tried to do that though in the show, like I don't know if people know that. Like when I walk away from an episode for a week, I'm like, man, that was heavy. Let's do one shot next week, or let's do something that's a little bit more lighthearted, or that kind of overall pace. Yeah, that one was rough. That one was really rough, and that was a tough episode for me because I knew kind of I knew Violet's backstory. So when I went into that, I was like, yo guys, can we just not be, because she's young. She's, 16 years old. Like the idea of, strapping a 16-year-old girl to a table and like doing all these experiments on her. I was like, oh, I don't know if I feel comfortable with this. But the beautiful thing about that cast from, Gone and, by extension Nocturne, of course, is that they with love and care and great respect approach all of these really tough things sometimes. And it's like, they weren't doing anything to just do it because they thought it would be cool or, pack a punch or anything like that. They fully commit.
It wasn't seasoning.
Yes. It was like a real moment that they were like, this is what happened to her and we need to kind of, with respect, show everyone that. And they just did such a fucking good job with that. They did, yeah. And I was scared. I was scared that entire episode. I will admit that. I was very, very scared. And I handed over the reins to the cast to just be like, okay, for those one-shot episodes, we don't do this normally, but for the one-shot episodes where we're touching on someone's backstory, we kind of know what, the moments that we need to hit. Usually 2, one before break, and then 1 at the end of the episode. So today, we need to touch on this incident that happened with Violet. So at some point after the break, this needs to happen. You guys do whatever the fuck you want. I'll break when you guys tell me to, or when I feel like it's appropriate. But as long as you guys hit this point, we've covered our bases, right? So they know, and it's fucking beautiful to watch them because they will kind of like improv with each other and be like, okay, I'm coming to you next. Like, in the Zoom chat, they'll be like, I'm heading towards your direction, so be ready for me. And they're like communicating to each other in such a cool, beautiful way that it's honestly a fucking privilege to watch them hit a point that I give them. It's nuts. It's nuts. Was 52.
Speaking of directing, towards the end, you went in the show, you gave up control.
Yeah. That was so fucking terrifying. That was so scary.
I was going to say, that's got to be scary, right?
Oh, yeah. It was very scary.
How much you trust the cast to do that, it's got to be scary. And was there as much direction during those parts when you weren't there? I mean, you were there, obviously. But...
Yeah. Yes, there was. There was a lot of I wouldn't say specific direction, but what happened was Beth took over the narrative and I was like, I instantly decided I'm not coming back. I don't think I cannot come back because of all of the work that I have put in so far. I will ruin it if I come back. I have to trust them. I have to just give them the reins and be like, y'all fucking did this. You can do it for the last. And then I remember sitting there going, and I said to them after that episode, we were on the Zoom call and I said, I got to tell you, I will not do this if you guys want to keep going. But to me, it feels like you just triggered Endgame. We could wrap up in 5 episodes or so. And they were all like, it hurts, but it is right. We also feel like that's what was triggered and our characters wouldn't just go do something else now. We want the truth. We want to hit the end. I gave them the opportunity, we can go fuck around in Nibiru if you guys want. I don't have to end the show. And they were like champions being like, no, our characters would do this. And I was like, yes, that's why you're in the fucking show. Because you're going to do what your characters are going to do at all times. But yeah. And so then I told them, I was like, I don't think I'm coming back. In my head, I'm like, if they make it to the core and they meet Mother, then I will come back because that's who that makes sense for the show. So I was like, yeah, I will come back, but it could be tomorrow. It could be next episode. It could be 4 episodes from now. I don't know when it's going to happen, if it's going to happen at all. That was terrifying, that decision. I sat on that for 3 or 4 days and I had to make a choice.
I remember you panicking.
I was panicking.
They've just triggered Endgame.
Yeah. And I was like, and then I remember I was in the call with them And I was like, can we chat real quick? Because all this has happened and I want to make sure that I, talk to everybody. Because that's another GM thing that I don't think people realize. When an end game is triggered like that, I think it's important. What I did was I met with each cast member that was left and was like, hey, how do you feel about your character? Like, is there something that you would have liked to see before the end happens? Like, not a specific thing, but like for your character arc, what is something that you would want to see? And so then I went away with those things that they were hoping for and tried to write around that so that I could push them into an arc that they felt satisfied with after, 33 episodes, And I do remember also at the end of the call being like, we've got about 5 episodes left, maybe 3 to 5. And then I remember looking and going, wait a minute, what episode are we on? And the realization hit me that we might do 33 episodes. And I went, yep, 4 episodes. That's it. We've got 4 episodes left. Period. I'm making it work in 4 episodes. And
was the door episode because of that?
Which door?
Where they all went through the door and then you basically had scenes.
Yeah. So, well, it's crazy that you say that. So that episode, I could have run the show an hour or 2 longer and we could have ended it there. So I struggled a bit with what to do for the finale. And I was even thinking about putting them back in the DMV and bringing it all the way back. And like,
you mentioned that.
I was like, I might recreate the DMV. And then I was like, no, man, the greatest challenge is your own brain cage, and like, we're going to do, and then I was like, why am I, this is literally my dialogue. So just take with it what you will. I said, why am I writing it? Why am I doing this? Like, I wrote a lot of stuff for 30 episodes or 32 episodes, right? What is this cast really good at? Dialogue with each other. And I went, okay, I'm going to do a fucking series of monologues and like dialogues with each other. And that's what I'm going to do. And it's going to be like, entering a room and that person was always there. And then they're not there when you look around and now you have somebody else to talk to. And I was like, it's a surreal fucking game. It's a surreal thriller. Why would I actually have a final scene where there's tangible things that you can touch? Why isn't it like a dream or like a death rattle where your final moments and you're just floating from one thing to the next? And when I had that thought, I was like, I just need to fucking hands off the finale. I know it's the end episode and I want to baby it so badly, but I can't. I have to take my hands off and go, do it. Do what you do best. I trust you completely. You got wings. It's time to fly. Do it. The final fucking episode is yours. Take it. And I think like that's scary to do as a creator that has poured so much of their heart and soul into the prep and the episodes and all that kind of stuff. And like, but at that point, like it's been 32 episodes. My message is either going to get out there or it's not. Like it's either going to hit or it's not. And I can't force that to happen. I'm sure I could have done, I had like some tie-ins and symbolisms and a little bit of some answers, but you know what I didn't plan for? Dex and Lore's closure. I planned for closures that I could answer for. But what I preferred is because the end ended the way that it did with no direct closure, that entire episode was everybody else having little bits of closure that we wouldn't have had otherwise, like that Dex and Lore moment, that made me feel so good. Like I think we're a little bit more okay with the end the way that it is because we had other little bits that we got closure for. Yeah. We had other doors that kind of just closed for us. And then the final one being left open is okay because of that. And I just think, Blake dancing, there's so much like Autumn dancing. There's just like so much that happened. Yeah. There's so much that happened that I didn't plan for that we just gave them. So what I did with that is I went in and I had pairs of who I thought would go well together, and which ones.
Pumpkin Mary made 75 different overlays.
I did.
For that
I did make a lot of. I was panicking, and I was making a whole bunch because I had the idea last minute, and I was like fucking threw out my ending like the day before, and then I was doing overlays the day of still to try to get it done because I was like, you bitch, you can't have them putting covering cams for this finale. You gotta like extra as fuck. You gotta be extra as fuck. So I went and I did all those overlays, but then I was also thinking to myself, like, I want people to have monologues. There were a couple moments where I fucked up. Poor Myth did his monologue, and then I was like, oh shit, the way I had set up the overlays fucked it up. The timing, I messed up the timing, so I had to go back to Myth again before I could go to the next person, and I was like, sorry, we got to go back to you. I'm so sorry. So that was an accident, but it was a happy accident. I really liked what he said. Both times.
Brad roasting you about
that.
Brad
roasted me about that pretty hard. Two little logs, but I put the pairings in the group chat, and I was like, here's like the schedule, and what I told them was like, ignore the numbers next to it. That's just for me to understand pacing and pay attention to the episode. It takes as little or as long as it takes. You just take your time. You're with this person, and we'll figure out a system for when you guys want to tell me you're done. And they did it. They were like, maybe we should go look for the others. That was their signal to me that we're done now. We have closure with each other. I wasn't in charge of that. So, and it's actually the one thing that I fucked up. I looked at the time, and I, like, the end scene was triggered because I was like, oh fuck, John's gotta go. It's his fucking anniversary, and I lost track of time because they were so busy like talking, and it was so beautiful that and then I was like, oh fuck, we gotta go, fam. We gotta wrap it up, sort of. So we gotta switch. But yeah, a lot of it was just me watching and moving from person to person as the players were like releasing their character, saying goodbye. Really, it was like the characters were saying goodbye, but the players are saying goodbye too. So yeah, it was very tough, but I'm so happy that we did it that way. So happy. Yeah, I feel like I just
final question.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like I just talked a fuck ton, so I'm sorry. Please continue.
No, it was great. I couldn't stop listening. I know you're proud of what you've made. Right?
Yes.
That's obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Are you? What I was touched upon at the start of this thing was how when you release music out to people, it becomes not yours anymore. It's someone else's. Are you proud of what it is now that it's out and it's in everyone's minds?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm most proud of the people who heard it, who heard that message and were like, oh, I see what you've done. And I think it was slow enough in the beginning that you didn't realize it. You know, it was like a message about like letting go and about life and loss and just life, like what life is like as a speck of stardust, you know? And for me personally, I personally don't believe in a God per se or a greater being. I happen to believe that everything is a cosmic accident. So to see that, but I didn't want the show to be that. Like, I never set out to have the show be, this is the answer, and I know the answer. I don't think I know the answer, which is, again, why the ending was so important for me. I don't claim to know the answer. I don't have the answer. I will probably never have the answer unless I die and there does happen to be a heaven and I show up and I'm like, oh, fuck. You know, like, oh, I got that one way wrong. But like, I don't think I will have an answer. And I just never wanted the show to claim to have that. I really set out when day one, I was like, I want there to be 3 possible endings or 3 possible answers, rather, not necessarily endings, but 3 possible answers that all of them can be true if you go back and watch the show. And I think like the fact that so many different spiritual beliefs were hit on during the show makes me so proud and so happy. Like, I said this in my shoutouts, but when Zeke and I talked about Maury's departure, we had an hour-long discussion of philosophy. And he's like, this is what I think you're saying. And I was like, yes, you say whatever you want to say. Say whatever you, Zeke, want to say through Maury in this moment, because that is what I'm doing with this show. Yes. So he knew I was trying to, talk more about philosophy than I was a sci-fi thriller, so
you directly wrote a TTRPG about my personal existentialism.
Yeah. but like, Laura would talk about stuff in character like, well, I believe this, or, Blake would be like, I don't believe there's anything beyond this, or, Autumn saying like, I believe that there's something greater. I believe there's something out there for us. So I just think like, I just think because everyone was so involved and put their hearts in it, and I'm very bad at giving myself credit for things, but one thing I've been trying to do for this show specifically is because I stepped back and because I trusted them and I gave them space with my baby, they did things I wouldn't have been able to do by myself. Like, it's different perspectives. And it was so important for the show that there be those multiple perspectives and that there is no real one answer, or, Run laughing at Reckon's belief that, that the machine is a god essentially, and Run being like, okay, you lunatic. Like, that was such a good moment for me. Also, I know you asked me this question. We were supposed to be wrapping up, but like, I have to say one other thing. I didn't know what Nibiru meant until the week of the finale. I was like, I wonder what this means. And then I Googled it and found out that it was the Babylonian word for like ferryman. And I lost my shit. Because I was like, that's what this show is to me. It's the ferryman through that thought process or that existential journey. This show should be your ferryman, right? And I'm like, fuck me up. Fuck me up. Yeah. And I think
cosmic accidents.
Yeah, man.
The cosmic accident.
Cosmic accident. But yeah, and I think probably this is brought up in the chat, but I do want to mention it. Probably the most powerful thing for me was hearing the cast say it changed their worldview or their perspective on things, and like, helped them through some stuff and like helped them realize how they feel about some things. And I just, that is the greatest gift for this show. The greatest gift is those people that felt frustrated at the end. Because it meant you felt every moment of that show and you really wanted answers. And that's exactly what I feel sometimes when I don't know the answer and like, what's out there, what happens when, and that's what I feel. So yes, that's it. I'm done. I think it's not bold to say that the show helped a lot of people, and that makes me very happy. So yeah.
On it helped me as well. Definitely.
I'm very proud of the show. It's my golden artifact, baby. I'm getting a fucking octahedron tat. I'm like, that's it. Gone for life. Gone for life.
Goners for life.
Yeah. Long goner. I'm so sorry if I didn't get a chance to answer your question. But Peachy and I are both in the Table Story Discord. So if you'd like, the Gone channel will be up, I think, for another week before it moves into retired. But even after it moves into retired, if you're watching this and it's been like 8 months since the show ended, hi, I see you. I'm probably still in the Table Story Discord unless they fired me or I've quit or something awful happens and the world explodes.
We can't compete with this. Sack her.
No, I'm kidding. So I'm still in the Discord. That was a terrible dark joke, and I'm so sorry that I made it. Whack Brad, I love you. Jesus, stop word vomiting. Go into the Discord, tag Peachy or I. We will try to answer your questions. A couple of things I did want to mention, though, before we wrap up. This is the last that you will see of me and that you will see of Peachy here for Gone. However, some cool stuff coming up. I do have the 3-episode Nexi Sunbearers that I am going to edit. I apologize to all of you listening to the podcast version of the show that had to wait like a month and a half, got hit by a car, and I realized that I didn't post the episode saying I got hit by a car. So that nobody knew why. Nobody knew why the episode stopped. Anyway, just formal apology for that. So that is going to be, that is a podcast version of the show only. There was no video footage taken. So that'll be coming out. And then also during the show, you guys shared some personal real life memories after the Dex Ollied episode as a way to try to give him his memory back. And I will be narrating those individually with some Gone soundtrack in the background, and we will be releasing those in little like tidbits. So you can look forward to that. And the other really cool thing that I know you guys are really excited about is that Vitruvian Seagull, who made this bad boy, has agreed to make a smaller version with the music box still or without, and it is available right here for order right now. You ready? Bam! Go get yourself an octahedron. I'm gonna order myself another one too. I want it for my Christmas tree. Shut up.
Oh my god, yes!
Yeah. You are about to sell out. It is limited run. It is limited run. I feel really badly about it. Vitruvian, if you're listening, if there is a way that we can do like you stop the limited run for the live show and give YouTube a chance too, because they're not going to see this until tomorrow at noon. So maybe like whatever your limit was, cut it in half, and I don't know. I'm not going to tell you how to do your thing, but like give the YouTubers a chance. Where's the link? I just posted in the chat. Here you go. I'm going to tweet it too. Get on the waiting list if it's sold out. Yeah, it's literally, he's doing it by hand, made to order. So be patient. Shipping to the UK pushes it over the edge. I'm sorry. It's possible that shipping may change. It's possible because I know that he was working on a tight time schedule because I was like, the last thing's today. So, you know, I want to be able to tell people if you'd like. I want to let people know. I selected the music and the total is still only 50. Oh shit. Okay, gotta fix that, BB. So it's 50 without the music and 100 if you want to do with the music box. With the sound. Oh my god, so good. Okay.
It is so good.
Yeah.
It's the coolest fucking thing.
It's the coolest fucking thing ever. I cried so fucking hard. Like I full on started sobbing when I was picking up the peanuts from the couch. Anyway, this has been an absolute pleasure. As much as I would like to just continually talk about Gone and never let it go, I think it's a very big message in the show that we need to let it go. Is it going to hit the end of the song right now? Oh, thank God. I'm not ready.
You would have had to end the stream.
I would have literally had to cut it. So, Peachy, can you please shout yourself out?
Hi, my name is Peachy Pixelate. I stream on twitch.tv/Peachy Pixelate, and I made this soundtrack, which is something I'm immensely proud of, and I couldn't have done it without PB. And watching everyone's reactions to not only the scenes, but I see in the chat, oh my god, the music, that means a lot. So, thank you. And yeah, listen, Spotify. Third album be coming at some point. I might have to fix the 8-bit versions, it sounds like. Also, Rune 2 is the best game ever made. Okay. Thanks.
Oh my god, stop it, you.
Hashtag ad, I got a key. Shit, I gotta say that.
Yeah, you gotta say that. I remember you saying like, here, take the key back, just so that I could like, so I don't have to say that because I fucking love it.
So
yeah.
Good.
So, and I'm Pumpkinberry PB. I was the narrator for Gone, and I'm already working on the next thing, believe it or not. So follow my Twitter, probably, if you don't want to watch me come play video games, which I do on twitch.tv/Pumpkinberry. I think the best way to keep in touch with me or things that I'm up to is going to be to follow me at twitter.com/Pumpkinberry. I will be giving away some things, another copy of Nibiru, probably the dice that I used for the show, So those are things that are coming up that you should follow me for, or join in the Table Story Discord or my personal Discord. Either one are the ways to get to me. Sorry, I hate Twitter. That's okay. That's why I'm giving you options. If you don't want to follow me on Twitter, that's okay. You can follow in the Table Story Discord, or you can follow my personal Discord. Well, I don't think I have. It's discord.gg/pbtv. So I'm in there. So yeah, that's it. And then I'll see you again in March. What?
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 What? I said March. Okay. Bye, everybody. We love you.
Bye.